It worked. It worked. We're live. Well, that was cool. All right, I'm glad it worked out like that. Like I said, I've been having a lot of problems with it, but I'm glad it worked out this time. Uh,
See where we're live at.
yeah, we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Two Uncles in a Jar. I'm Uncle Moonshine.
I'm Uncle Joey. I'm seeing where we're live real quick. Give me a second here. Making sure we're live on some of our platforms.
And this is where
Uh,
the stories are real, the spirits are strong, and their craft always respected. Tonight we're talking to none other than Master Distiller Sean Rigsby. And trust me, you're going to learn something tonight. Welcome to the show, Sean. Thanks
Hey,
for being
thanks for
here.
having me. I just wanted to be early just to make a point to Uncle Joey that one, I was going to be here, and two, I was going to be on time. It just so happened to be before him,
yes,
which
he actually was
is
on before
normal.
me.
You was
He-
almost before me.
we're not. Only thing we're not live on the Two Uncles in a Jar page. I'm not showing.
It's showing on my end we are.
See if all right. Maybe
In
I
fact,
don't know.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, we are. We're
All
good.
right, cool. So, hope everybody had a good weekend. We're rolling into Sunday evening here. I got burned up by the sun today, as you can see here. I got fucking fried. Went to the Strawberry Festival up in Troy. Had a good time.
How'd
Yeah.
that turn out?
Hot. It was a good time though. Ate some good food. Uh, Troy's an awesome little town. Got to see some live music.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's real good. I love summertime when everybody's getting out to these events and doing different things. Summer's great. I love it. So, Sean, for the folks who might not know you, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in distilling.
Oh man, so I got started. It was a long time ago. So basically, my family, most of my family lives in Eastern Kentucky, and I was going down, and well, let me go back to the first time I was actually introduced to it. So we had these family reunions, and I think this was back in 20. Let's see, my son was born 2009, so probably about 2011. So we went down to Kentucky, me and my brother, for the first reunion that we had down there, and my cousin was like, "Hey, you ever had moonshine?" And I was like, "No, I've never had that." Because my dad was from down there, and he always said, you don't want to get mixed up drinking moonshine because people don't make it the way it should be, and if you don't make it right, well, you can get sick and shit like that. Well,
Dad was saying, don't go hang out with the cousins.
right. So my cousin was like, "Here's some peach moonshine," and it was, I mean, man, it tasted like pop, like peach soda, and to me, like, I love the flavor of it. But as the night went on, my other cousin named Tracy, he was like, "If you all want to taste some real moonshine, come on up to the house tonight." So okay, well, we went up there, and that's where it started, man. We got so fucked up because here's a jar clear first thing, and at the time, the peach moonshine was post flavored. If I say post flavored, it had a bunch of syrup in it, but the flavored moonshine he had was like infused fruit. You know what I mean? So it was still strong. Um, but man, that's where that started at, and I got hooked, and I started going down, and I'd meet my cousin, and I'd bring some back, and I got in a bind, and I started flavoring a little, and that's where that went. And then my stepdad at the time, he found some because I went over to his. I actually went down and got 11 cases.
Damn.
And he called me on the way back, and he said, "Hey, if you're not doing nothing tonight, I'm gonna need your help." Because he had a bunch of rental properties and stuff, and I was like, "Okay." So I pulled up at his house, and like I just went straight there on my way back. So I unloaded the liquor in the garage, and I got the tools and shit I needed. Well, when I was gone working, this motherfucker was in the garage looking around, and he found this liquor. So when I got back, I walked in the house, and he's sitting there, and jar clear on the table. He's like, "Did you make this?" I said, "No." And I said, "I got it." And he's, I was telling him what I was doing with it, and he said, "Well, the money's in making it." And that's where it all took off, because then I talked to my cousin. I found out who was making it. He introduced me to the two fellas, and rest. One of them sold because he had passed away a couple years ago. But they didn't teach me how to make it, but they answered a lot of questions, and I've always looked up to them. And even now, his son's still alive, and that's what he's doing. So,
and that being said, I know for me personally, when I first started, I had a lot of questions. I'm Googling shit. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, man. Freaking out. I'm making mistakes left and right. So, yeah, there's always a lot of questions. I've been doing this shit for 15 years and still asking questions.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. I mean, back when we started, you couldn't really just get online
No.
and get on in a Facebook group and ask questions. And even when you do that now, you still get 5 different ways, and half of it's not right, and half of it's half right. So
Start going down rabbit holes.
right.
I almost feel like on some of those groups, some of them people don't trust just anybody, so they're giving you bullshit answers more just to make it that, I don't know, man. I feel like there's people that just give bullshit answers to give them, I think, in some of those.
Really? I feel the same way, buddy. And I guarantee you there are people out there that do just that. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, and some people are, they don't know their ass, from a hole in the wall to begin with.
Right.
And some information is okay to give, but some can be dangerous.
Right. Yep.
That's what irks me, and if I don't know the answer to a question, generally I'll be like, well, this is my experience. I'm not 100% for sure, but this is the person I would ask, or this person has more experience in this end of it than I do, because there's a lot of liquors out there that I don't like to make,
Right.
Or I made them a couple of times, and I'm like, what, this stuff isn't for me. So
No, I totally get that. Me doing the potatoes, a lot of people don't like to do potatoes. So, I get it, man. I get a lot of it. I've done very few corn. And so when I do a corn, I'm reaching out and asking questions, man.
So, is it the straining process that no one likes to fuck with of the potatoes? Is that basically?
That's the biggest issue. And the other issue is potato has a lot of starch, but getting that starch out of the potatoes is the story.
yeah,
So usually, if you're not using a high sugar content or a high amount of potatoes, you're not going to get a very big yield, because it's hard to get that starch out of there. You must be using stuff to get those starches out.
especially if you don't want to use much sugar. That's the issue.
And that sugar, as we all know, or as moonshiners know, adds that heat, and it makes it hot and unpleasurable. So, Sean, thanks for sharing your family history about that. I also wanted to touch on the fact that you have been on the show Master Distillers. And what made you decide to go on Moonshiners Master Distillers? What made you decide to do that?
Well, it's kind of funny because I got a call back in I think it was 2018. It was
That sounds about right.
whenever Jimbo was on the pilot episode. So I got a call, and it was a number from New York. So I'm like, hello, and they're like, hey, this is such and such. Well, this is Noel from
McGill.
McGill Entertainment, and we're the producers for Moonshiners. And I thought it was a joke the whole time, and they were like, well, we're planning on making a competition show, and they kind of compared it to that knife making show. I can't
Forged
remember.
the Fire.
Yeah, and she was like, was that something you'd be interested in? I said, well, for one, how'd you get my information? She said, well, your name was passed along. And I was like, okay, well.
That's big, man. It's big.
So I said, sure, why not, and I done the phone interview, and they said, okay, well, we think you might be a good fit to move, onto the process. So they had me do a Zoom call with Noelle and some other lady, and I done that, and she was like, "Well, you'll hear back." Well, I didn't hear a freaking word, man, for I don't know. It was probably
That,
3 months.
that was right
Yeah.
around COVID, right? Right before COVID?
Huh?
Was that right before COVID?
No, this was when Jimbo
Oh, okay.
filmed, and I said, and I was like, well, I didn't hear anything. Well, then I was talking to Jimbo. I said, hey man, when you heading down to the jam for the winter jam? He's like, well, I'm gonna be over in Gatlinburg. I said, motherfucker, you got chosen to film, didn't you? He's like, well, I ain't supposed to say nothing, but yeah. So I'm like, man, fuck you. They never called me back. So, and it was the same thing for season 1. They called me and I said, sure, I'm definitely still interested. And I heard I'd done the process again and heard nothing back. And so at that point, I'm like, well, whatever. And then season 2, they called me and they said, hey, if you were, this is Jake Bandman from McGill, and he said, if you were chosen for season 2, would you drive or fly? I said, well, I would drive, but I'm not going to pay any more mind to this shit because you guys have reached out multiple times and left me hanging every time.
Right.
And I got a 4-month-old baby at the time. And I said, so unless you call me back and you give me a date to show up, I'm not really interested in it. So he's like, well, just, I can't really say, but you're definitely one of the last ones that were.
Considering?
Yeah, and, then he said, how do you feel about making vodka? I said, fucking terrible, to be honest with you. I said, I've never made it. I said, but if that's what y'all want me to do, I mean, I'll try to figure it out.
I'm sorry, Sean. I want to interrupt you for a second because that was the same time I was talking to Miguel.
Okay.
They asked me about vodka, and I said, hell yeah. So they said, well, we'll be reaching out to you.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you. When I did get the go-ahead, I did call a few people because, again, I had never made vodka per se. So one of the people I called was Alan Bishop, and I said, hey, man, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. He said, but I can tell you that red wheat makes a good vodka. And I said, okay, I'm going to take wheat, but I'm not going to do red because that's what you told me to do.
I like it.
So I made, well, that was one of the recipes I tried, was the one that I won with, but I had 2 weeks before I had to go down there. So I made 2 mashes. One of them was half corn and half wheat bran.
Nice.
And then the other one was the one I made for the show. Well, they both worked off, but I only got to run the wheat bran and the corn because, life happened. So I was not happy with that at all. So, mind you, I ran it on a pot thumper and a worm because that's what they said that we were going to run it on. And I ran it one time because that's what I do with the thumper. So I ran that, didn't like it, and then something happened. I just never got to run the other one until I got down there to film. So that was the first time I ever ran that recipe. And it wasn't terrible, but I mean...
That's funny.
Yeah.
And that's the one you won with. You never
Yeah.
ran.
Yeah.
So what wheat did you use?
I used white wheat malt.
Nice.
And I used Bloody Butcher corn from Dancing Star Farms over in Pennsylvania, Robert McDonald. And I used some barley. But on the show, originally, they said you have 4 hours to mash in. I'm like, okay, cool. But Jimbo said if you question anything, take a way to fix it. So, I was taking yeast nutrients. I took, pH shit. I took sugar. I'm glad I took sugar because when I got there, they said, well, you only have 1 hour. And I'm like, okay, well, if you know me, I'm good at fucking stuff up. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ditch the conversion part and leave the other ones for flavor. And just, I think I dumped 30 pounds of sugar in a 50-gallon barrel is what I used. So it wasn't high at all. I mean, I didn't fill up the barrel completely, but I mean, it done what it It was a decent liquor. I
To me,
mean,
that's a lot.
well, yeah. I mean, but we were in it 3 times.
Right. You have to.
So, um, but we ran it, a pot thumper and a worm, and when after the first round, Tom is his family owns a distillery, and to this day they make, in my opinion, the best vodka I've ever had. But and he told me, he said, I'm gonna try to get the tower, 4-plate tower. I said, well, you got my word. I'm going before you. The 4-plate tower is yours. I do not want it.
Wow.
And because that's, I just stick with what I know, what I was, comfortable with using.
I'd have done the same.
Matt said, how much sugar did I take? I'm going to be honest. I took 80 fucking pounds.
Oh my God.
I took 80 pounds in 10-pound bags, but I used 30.
So the 50 left over, did you share with the other contestants?
Actually, I think I took that back home.
Okay.
I think, I can't remember.
I just
Well, they didn't want it. They didn't want it. I think Scott used corn sugar, dextrose.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And I don't think Thomas used anything. I think he got he got like a 1.04 conversion is what he wound up with.
Ugh. Ouch.
Yeah. So it was pretty low, but I mean, again, he ran it through plates, so.
Gotta bring it up, yeah. And speaking of, you reached out and said something about what Matt had said. I want to get caught up on the comments. Benny McClure came in first and said, hello, everyone. Hey, Benny, how you doing, buddy? The drummer said, hey, gentlemen. Matt McClure, what up, guys? And Matt, potatoes are messy. They are, guys. I've done it so long, though, it's just become the norm for me. People, dude, how do you stand making it? It just becomes a norm for me, so. Matt also says 2018, you weren't old enough back then. Leave it to Matt. Then Lisa Day comes in and says, hello, everyone. And that's when Matt says, how much sugar did you take? That's a lot of sugar.
Hey, just enough. I took it. Look, hey, you know what? So.
It's better to take more than you need and not have enough.
So I took my hydrometer, not my proofing one, but the triple scale, and I had it in my back pocket, man. And when we got to the distillery and unloading everything, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I'm reaching around, and they're like, well, we'll take you back. I'm like, okay, so I was checking my pockets. I didn't have nothing. And as soon as I sit down in the car, I was like, fuck. There's my hydrometer.
Done that. I buy extra hydrometers. I got 3 of them sitting up here for that very reason. I busted it just dropping it down my parrot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hate that. You drop it in, you hear it. So you can hear that sound, you're like, fuck.
I don't know. I mean, so some people will take that copper mesh and they'll put it down in the bottom. That way when you lower it in, it don't, but
I learned my lesson, and yes, that's the way to do it. You're right. Good point. Good tip there. For all of you guys that are listening, put some copper mesh down in that parrot.
So, tell the people what you're drinking on there, Sean.
This is some of the Ohio. This is some Ohio moonshine from Ohio Shine Co. It's a toasted coconut.
Ooh.
Oh, it's amazing.
Man,
It's
sounds amazing.
52 proof. So this distillery is fairly new. I think they just opened up this year. They're located in Marysville, Ohio.
Mansfield.
Mansfield, Ohio. I'm sorry.
Mansfield.
And they use a North Georgia copper still.
How big?
I can't remember, but it's beautiful, man. It's freaking beautiful.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's North Georgia.
Well, when Andrew found out me and Uncle Joey were going, he said, "Don't fucking break nothing."
I don't want to have to fix it.
Yeah, he did comment on our thing that don't be touching nothing, Sean.
I'm sure he did. I love Andrew. He's cool as shit.
Yeah. Well, and man, they have they make this toasted coconut. They make a good butterscotch. And, I mean, they make a load of flavors, and they make a grain. What? I can't remember what all.
It was just a corn. They just had a corn
Was it?
liquor. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job up there. Mansfield, little out of the way. But man, if you're ever up in that area, I'm hoping that the OHLQ will treat them good and get them in some stores. But they make a
Well,
pretty good product up there, man.
well, and you can make a trip out of it and stop right there at the Ohio
The penitentiary.
the reformatory right there, and you can
Yeah.
take tours and overnight tours, and if you go around Halloween, they'll do a haunted house, which is
Yeah.
I've been there before, and it was pretty cool. Like I was walking through it, I was just looking at the prison and shit.
I'm sorry. When you said you doing a tour of a distillery at a haunted house, do they get you drunk before they go spook you? I'm just saying, man.
You fill up your flask and head on out.
Go on in, have fun. No, that being said, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sean. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine, man. You're all right.
Really, now that we know what Sean's drinking on, what are you drinking on there, Uncle Joey?
Well, I found a jar of Big Easy's peach tea, moonshine, in my refrigerator. I'm gonna finish that jar off this evening.
That shit's
Okay.
fucking terrible. Why you pour that shit out?
No, he did a good job on this, man. He
Actually,
really
I've had that. That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm drinking some this Horse Soldier bourbon whiskey.
Yeah, I had
Oh,
the
nice.
same bottle, man. That's some good shit.
It is good. I like it. Big Easy.
And what's even cooler about that bottle, some of that
Yeah,
is
there's
made
some-
right here in Ohio.
Yeah. Yep, they do. And you're right. And they're opening their brand new distillery in Kentucky July 4th this year.
Yeah.
Their grand opening. Absolutely, you're right. And hey, Big Easy. David Dance is in the house. Hey, David Dance. Big Easy. Sean. Dressing like Big Easy.
Blowing the sleeves off. It's about that time of year.
That's a boy. Just accept your fate and shave your head. Hey, I've done that a time or two. Just shave it.
Hey, Uncle Joey, I got a question for you. It's a serious
Yes.
fucking question.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you get that shirt?
This shirt here.
Yeah, that one right there.
So, Brandon over at the Moonshine Co. is doing a wonderful job helping us out and a lot of other people.
Oh, yeah.
And I reached out to him, and we have this awesome T-shirt on his website. If you guys want any of his products, please reach out to the moonshineco.com. And man, they're doing awesome shit. I think me and Mark are going to get Two Uncles in a Jar shirt on there as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I can't wait.
Hey, Brandon's awesome. He's very easy to work with. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Anybody out there, any of you Master Distiller past winners, any shiners, man, reach out to Brandon and get some merchandise out there. He's very easy to work with. He's a hell of a dude, man. He'll definitely help you.
I haven't talked to him personally, but I've heard nothing but good about the man. So.
Yeah.
Y'all-
From what I've heard, like I saw Daniel Stevens has some merchandise at the festival, or he works out a real good deal with you on the merchandise you take to the festival. So it's a great deal all the way around, man. He's a great dude.
That's
But
right.
yeah, we have these on the website. So get yours now while you can. $20.
Oh yeah. Now that
Who don't love a $20 T-shirt?
now that we've done some advertisement and put some names out there, I just want to reach out real quick and go back to the Master Distiller when he was on the show. What was the toughest part of the competition that people don't see on camera?
Well, the toughest part of the competition for me was the very first day we ran because I was hung the fuck over.
That would be tough.
Well,
Especially-
there's go ahead. Go
No,
ahead,
it's
Uncle
funny
Joey.
you say that because you hear two different sides of it. You hear guys like you that embraced the whole atmosphere, and you went down to the fire pit and hung out and passed jars around and hung out, and you got the guys that went to their hotel and didn't do nothing. So you kind of got to experience the true side of it, I feel like.
Well, yeah. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any liquor down with me because what I had just went to. I had to drop off into Kentucky.
doing some bootlegging, was it?
No, that way it was there. That way I could pick it up on the way back, But so. But when I pulled in, I walked inside, and may he rest in peace. Unfortunately, Stan, Pegleg. I can't remember his last name.
I know what you're talking about.
So I've known him for years since
Lisa Day's buddy. Lisa Day's buddy.
Yeah. So we used to go. Well, I met him at Hillbilly Jam years ago, and I walked in. I come out, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He said, "Well, what the fuck are you doing here?" I said, "Well, hopefully I ain't got to beat your ass at rye or at vodka." And he just chuckles, and he's like, "No, I'm making rye." And he's like, "Well, we're gonna be out here at the round table," is what he called it, later tonight. I'm like, "All right, well,
You talking
And-
about the guy at the gate at Maggie Valley?
the guy that what?
At the gate at Maggie Valley?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. Stan. Oh, what the fuck's his last name? People are gonna tell me I'm a piece of shit because he was in the friend
I
group
was
that we
thinking
all.
somebody else myself, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. River Rat.
Stan Winskowski, River Rat Liquor.
Yeah. River.
But and he didn't say anything about going down there and filming, and I went out there and hung out around the round table, and I met Scott. That's where I met Scott, and he said, "Here, try this, try it." And I tried his vodka. I was like, "Fuck, man, I'm in trouble." So the very next day, after we made the mash, I went around to all these different distilleries because I wanted to see who was making vodka and talk to the distillers and get any information I could.
Smart move.
Well, the thing was, they already had my recipe because I sent it to them, and they want to know what we were making, and this is what it was. This is the yeast I had and what I was using. So obviously that couldn't change, but so I went to a couple different distilleries, and then one of them was like, "Hey, go over to King, Justin King," and I went over and talked to him, and it was kind of same deal, but I got to try a lot of different vodka there. But I thought for sure Scott, if he made anything close to what he handed me down there, I was like, "Fuck, man!" And we didn't know. We just knew that we were going to flavor it. We didn't know if it was going to be post-flavored or if it was going to be infused. Like until the day of, we had no idea. And like I was telling him, I'm like, "Let me get this infused. Let me get the infusion because post flavoring at the time, I did shit quick. I didn't use a lot of fruit, I mean, I put fruit in jars after the fact, so you knew what you were drinking. But I flavored with like Monin and different shit at the time, and I was like, shit, because Scott made some real good post flavored,
So-
Go ahead.
Were you making brandy?
When?
Never mind.
We're talking about vodka, Joey. Where you at?
I gotcha. There's a little backhanded comment. It wasn't towards me.
Oh,
But yeah.
Remember that jar of brandy at Maggie Valley?
Hey, like this brandy right here?
Oh,
Damn good shit.
wait, I think I know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that? No, that wasn't Sean's, was it?
No.
No.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, no.
It was
I'm
fine.
back on
It was
track. My
fine.
bad. That was just a little.
Yeah, but yeah. So back to your question, man. Sorry, I got off track, but
Oh man.
I would say the hardest part of the whole thing was dealing with the heat because it was
That would
hot.
drive me nuts. Even though I'm from Florida, shit, dude, that would drive me nuts.
Well-
I was sweating my ass off.
But it was 90 degree in the 90s, and we couldn't have fans on in there because they didn't want
Like me.
the noise. Well, the noise. So it was pretty rough. Between that and not knowing what exactly was going to happen next and what they wanted. But if you watch my episode, you'll see where I said I'm not playing it safe, but I'm playing it safe because, I know that them boys, they like sugar, Sean. They like sugar liquor, man.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, and so I'm like, this is in my wheelhouse right here. Like, I mean, obviously you can make good liquor with conversion, but them boys were selling liquor, so why not go with what they're used to tasting,
Yeah, right. You're right. I got you.
And Scott made a perfect jar the second round, and Digger was like, if Scott brings the same jar, you're in trouble. I said, oh, well, we'll see what happens.
But he had to
I
tweak
can
it,
remember
didn't he?
watching that episode and feeling that way. Like when I remember going back and watching it, like Sean's got, you got some competition, man. Scott
Yeah.
definitely brought his A game, man. He really did.
Well, man, Thomas, um, his his talent wasn't shown because a lot of things that he's done in the past was not built around the small still, the fire.
Yeah.
So as for me and
That's why he
Scott,
brought that up.
yeah, at the time, I only ran gas. I'd never messed with electric. So like it was, another day for me when it comes to lighting the burner, getting it going, running the temp up. But Thomas was, and then he had that little foreplate, which still that was more of like what he did. But
Gas.
huh?
But with
Look,
gas.
He's electric, right?
Yeah. So I think he turned it up too high to get it to blow through the plates, man, and it just hurt him in the long run.
Damn it. Yeah. I get it. That makes total sense.
Yep.
And it's sad too because he came from that distillery background. It probably kind of hit him a little bit, but since then he's done big things and done well. So
Dude, that liquor, that vodka, I believe he's got platinum with it.
yeah.
I mean, dude, I tip my hat
Hey, you
to
know
him.
what?
And
Yeah.
Things like that happen in our lives where it kind of backsets you or whatever.
Yeah.
Makes you go forward even more. So
Yep.
guess
Well-
what? It worked out too.
I'm going to be completely honest, and I was confident when I went down there to film. You got to be, but I feel like I don't want to say I shouldn't have won, but I was not the best distiller.
So that being said, sir, I have to ask you. So what was the fact that what was it that changed? I can't even talk. What did winning change for you?
What changed for me?
Yeah, the fact that you won. What changed for you? The fact that
Well, I got a headache that I originally didn't have. Well, I mean, there was. So after I got back, I ran for a short period of time. When I found out that my episode was getting ready to air, I quit. I had taken a big stainless still I had to a distillery, and they finished it off, if you know what I'm saying. But there's a story behind that. If you want to hear it, I'm more than happy to talk about it.
I hope I hear about that in Maggie Valley.
Well, it's kind of entertaining, but I never seen the still again. I'll tell you that.
Damn.
They fucked it up. I
That
mean,
sucks.
boom. But
Damn.
yeah. But so I quit running for probably about a year or so. But nothing really changed, man. Going to festivals, all of a sudden people put you up here, even though you're just another normal person. Because I was going to Hillbilly Jam way before I went on the show. But I'll tell you what, the best thing that come from the show is being able to meet the people that I met.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I
Um,
mean, we talked to a lot of master distillers that have been on the show, and you know what? Even talking to Mark and Digger about it, they all say that. They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
All the people you meet, great friends. You guys all stay in touch. We hook up the festivals, yada yada yada. We stay in
Well-
touch with podcasts. You name it.
I'll tell you, man, the first time I ever met Mark, it was like 7 in the morning, man. I come downstairs to get me something to drink, and I walk around. This was at the Rendezvous, and I think it was a Winter Jam, actually. I can't remember. But I come around the corner, and he's just standing there in his long fucking long john pants and this t-shirt. And I said, well, son of a bitch, you look a lot fucking different without them damn overalls on. And he just laughs, But yeah, they're all great people, and people think that they're not approachable. Every one of them, everybody, is more than approachable.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And he stayed at the same hotel we did last year at Maggie
Yeah.
Valley. I'm up real early, and I
Same
get
here.
up early one morning, and I'm sitting down there. I don't drink coffee, but I was having my morning coffee, and I look over, and there he is, just sitting there, just chilling, having his cup of coffee, and he's just hanging out, talking shit with some older woman, and they're very approachable, man. They're
Oh,
no different than any of us. They really are.
Yeah.
and,
Such
honest,
a good dude.
and to be totally honest, they love to be a person. They love people coming up to them and talking to them. They really
Yeah.
do. I'll say this, Mark Ramsey's probably one of the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Want to walk up to and talk to. And I want to point this out. Every festival I've ever gone to that he was there, some of these moonshiners, they'll set up and they'll have a cutoff time. They'll shut up at 5 o'clock, I'm done, I'm out, I don't care what the line is, I'm done. And they leave. No matter what the line is. Mark Ramsey, he'll stay way after the last one's done and
Yeah.
gone. He still stands there waiting for people.
Yeah.
Rain,
He's-
shine, it don't matter, he'll stay there.
Well,
Doesn't matter about that man.
They're great people, man. And actually, the first time I met his wife, I had no idea. So me, Rick Gibson, which my shirt, but nobody hears from him anymore. And Jerry Benson, and I think Happy Hillbilly, Johnny Chastain, a lot of the old group that would go down to Hillbilly Jam. Well, Sally was with us, and we went over and ate at Joey's Pancake House. And I didn't know, yeah. And I didn't even know, who she was at the time. But it's funny how that turns out,
Right?
But
You're absolutely right. So Sean,
We were at Adventure Distilling one time, and we were walking in as Sally was walking out, and he just kind of just stopped and chatted. Man, they're very personable people, man.
Oh,
They
yeah.
really, really are.
They really are. People think that they're on TV. They're not, but they are. They're very. I love it, man.
yeah,
It's every one of them that I've ever met is the same way.
Yeah. And I think they realize, the community is is how it exists, and the community is a good, close knit group of people, man. So, I feel like they know they're in
well,
the company of good people. So
Right.
I think that's why they're so easily approachable.
there
They
was
know
there,
everybody that comes up to them is damn near just like them.
there was one guy, I can't remember his name. I met him at New Straitsville. Easy may remember his name. I doubt it because he can't remember shit either. But he texted me after the fact, and he said, "Man," he said, "I don't understand. Like, I come down, I'll try and talk to everybody, but you're the only person that really invested time into talking to me." I was like, without people talking, like, without fans, we don't have a show.
Exactly. And you know what, Sean? You and I talked about this a minute ago, or before we went live. I pause and take a few minutes to recognize the comments for that very reason. Without the people in the comments, we wouldn't have a show.
Right.
Thank you guys 100% for coming in and watching us. And please, if you have any questions or anything you want to ask Sean or Joey or myself, please feel free. We welcome that 100%. We're not going to ignore you. Try not to ignore you. But
Unless it's Big Easy, then we got to ignore him.
yeah, we got to ignore it big. So actually, we don't, but that's all good. Big Easy,
Right.
word of it. Just as
But-
long as Steve too.
And I'll tell you something though, like, it really, being on the show taught me a lot in the way of being humble. I feel like,
Oh, yeah.
well, because before that, a lot of people didn't really ask. I mean, they would ask, like, friends of mine would ask me, but like, it's real. It was weird, man, because after the show aired, I had my inbox on Facebook. I had to shut my phone off because people were sending me all kinds of questions, like, "Hey, man, how you doing? I haven't seen you since second grade." You know what I mean? But then I had a lot of locals. They're like, "Dude, check this out. This is my setup,"
Oh wow.
which was cool as hell. That people would just send that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool.
and that was really cool. Or people that were doing it, they reached out. They're like, "Hey, man, I got a question. Can you help me out?" I'm like, "Well, sure." And that kind of transpired on to other things down the road. But really, I don't make hardly any liquor anymore. I mean, Joey can attest to that. Um,
You
but
don't.
it's
We talk shit about him.
yeah, everybody does because I just
He, life happens, man. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah,
John's
absolutely.
a very
Totally.
busy man, and he really does. I bust his balls all the time. He does not have time. It's something that it's not. You just can't, walk in and walk out.
right.
It's a process. There's
It
things
is.
you got to do, and it's time consuming. And if you don't have the time, I get it, man. He just doesn't have the
And,
time.
and there was this lady I knew. She owned Springfield Health and Fitness at the time, a long time ago. Uncle Joey might know her. Her name's Pat Frock. Well, she made a comment to me a long time ago. She said, if you have knowledge and you're not teaching it, it's wasted knowledge."
Which, and she's dead on, and that brings me to my next question for you, sir. So you got the Still Talking Institute going on.
Yep.
So what inspired you to start the Still Talking Institute?
Well, a lot of what we just talked about, really. So like I said, when me and you were, just getting started years ago, really the only thing I can think of that maybe was available back then was like homedistiller.org.
I would
And I mean, you can read books, but I mean, you couldn't get on, different groups and ask a bunch of questions. So you kind of had to figure things out yourself, or you had to trial and error. So I mean, a lot of that, and like I said, I haven't been making shit. So, and a lot of it's based around beginners, okay? And a lot of that is simply because I'm a firm believer in having a foundation. If you've got a good, decent foundation, you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
No, you are correct.
So if you essentially know the basics, you can take that and you can, and like the sugar thing, some people like to convert grains. Well, it's all fine and well, but once you get so big, it's kind of harder to convert those grains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you have the equipment to do that. And that was the route I went. But
So, all right. Well, and I hope I'm not interrupting you.
no, not at all.
So, you went from distilling, you went on the show, and you're not distilling so much, but so what's the biggest difference between teaching distilling and doing it?
Leaving your options open, telling people that, because when it was me doing it, I had one way. It's not that it was the only way, but that was the only way that worked for me.
Right.
What you're comfortable with, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, once you get set up in your way, man, you can almost do it without looking. You know what I mean? You do some things so many times. If you use the same grain, the same water, I mean, you get in a routine, and
Absolutely.
that's why, even Uncle Joey, when you ask me and Big Easy something, we're like, try it. Sounds good, try it.
These guys
Because
will piss me off. They won't give me a definite answer, but they'll say, try it. And I'm like, motherfucker, I want to know yes or no. They're like, try it.
because we know that it's going to work, but you ask it, well, what about this? What about that? Well, hey, both ways will work. It just depends which one you want to do.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely learned that.
But by answering that way, the best way to learn is by self-experience. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I like to, like I said, give somebody a baseline to go by. If you need to raise your pH, add this. If you need to lower it, add that. Or whatever the case may be.
Well,
I mean,
said, I keep interrupting you, Sean. I'm sorry.
you're fine.
So that being said, and this comes up a lot with the moonshiners, and I go on TikTok. We have talks about stuff and whatnot. So that being said, how important is your pH?
It can be very important because essentially it could be from a mash starting off decent and then just taking a shit and not working off at all.
And can I add to that?
Yeah.
while your mash is working off, your pH is going to drop.
Yep.
People know that.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, so one thing I used to do with sugar is everybody give me,
No,
busting my ass about sugar. Well, like sugar shine, when I didn't add any grain or anything like that. If I didn't use a, uh,
Did Jason Bartolozzi pop up?
no,
no,
Matt,
Matt
Matt
Master. So, okay, and I'm gonna get beat up about this. Okay, so of course you can use any type of yeast you want, but when I would do a straight sugar wash, I would do when I have a 4-plate still. Well, we actually just got it back from Tucking Reds, but anyway, before
That's
they
a whole
had
other
it,
story.
I would run it, and so because it was going through 4 plates in a deflag, I'd run straight sugar, but I would use Mile High's turbo yeast for that.
Oh,
Well, hold on
yeah,
now.
you're good.
I'm not, like I said, this
Go
is
ahead.
not something for everybody, and the only reason I did that was because I would use 2 pounds of sugar per gallon. Now, when I would do a normal, around 10%, I would use normal bread yeast, but I would pitch in yeast nutrients and stuff like that.
Sure.
But with that, still with the plates and everything, that's the only reason why I ran that high. But when you do a turbo yeast like that, I highly is that Matt Brown. Matt Brown wishes he could be me. But anyway,
Matt Brown stunt double.
no, Matt Brown is my stunt double. But anyway, so with the turbo yeast, after that shit's done fermenting, let it sit for like 3 weeks to a month.
Wow.
Well, all that shit falls out of suspension and it'll be as clear as water.
Okay.
And that's, and I think a lot of the times, I'm not going to say it's a good yeast to use, but I think more often than not, it gets a bad rap because people just run it as soon as it's done. They just fucking hurry up and run it.
And you're right. That's the way I use
Yeah,
it.
I think that's the issue. And I've never ran turbo yeast, but listening to a lot of people and hearing it, you have to let that shit sit, not just for a few days. You got to let that shit a week. There's nothing wrong with letting that sit for a week.
I've let mash sit for a week before, sometimes 2 weeks. But
Well,
you're
especially with turbo yeast.
When I used turbo yeast for the first time and last time, dude, once it was done, I ran it. Dude, it tastes like shit. No, I'm done. I'm not doing that.
Listen, somebody handed me a jar of Maggie Valley. I really have no idea who it was, and it tasted like a hot loaf of bread.
Oh God!
And it was just all yeast, and I think it was turbo yeast. And I really think they didn't.
So I am in no way trying to market turbo yeast. So anybody listening, don't. I would not recommend it.
And if you do, use it the right way.
Yeah, and if you do it the right way. Hopefully you've got a couple thumpers. If not, rerun that shit. But definitely let that shit settle for a while.
That's good to know. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I've learned something tonight. See, I've been doing this shit 15 years. We talked about this earlier.
I've heard these guys say that a lot, Mark. I've heard Sean, Big Easy. They say if you've got to let that shit settle, man, because if not, there's so much flavor, awful flavor that you're going to get.
When I first started this, I bought turbo yeast because, come on, guys, admit it. When we first started running, get the shit off. Let's go.
Well, and not only that, when I first started, in my mind, I'm thinking the higher the proof, the better.
All of us, every one of them, dude. Yeah, how many times we gone down that rabbit hole? But so the first time I ran, I bought enough to do several runs. I ended up throwing all that shit out. I wouldn't even give it away. I was like, no, I'm done. I threw that shit in the trash. But now, knowing what I know now, I wish I still had it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yep.
Stevens jumped in.
But and another thing that people will bust my balls about is because you can ask Uncle Joey. I'm a bread yeast kind of guy.
Nothing wrong with that.
I've got it at my house.
For grain, that's if I'm running the grain, you can bet your ass I'm running 90. When I at Sugarlands, my show liquor, I use Saf Instant bread yeast for the show liquor.
Oh,
And the jar for Sugarlands, it was also bread yeast.
Cool. Awesome.
So,
Didn't know that. The first 7 years I ran, that's what I used. Flushman's bread yeast.
yeah, yeah. Well, and some people are all about one, all about the other.
Yeah.
For me, it's again that's one of them things
Well-
where I felt I got, I don't want to say good at using, but it was consistent enough for me.
And that's what you're used to. You
And that's what
you
yeah.
become to it.
Yeah.
That being said, sir, there are different yeasts for different mash bills.
Oh, for sure.
And like, if you're doing a brandy, you want to use EC 1118 or EC 1116. And but yeah,
Have you tried Big Easy's peach brandy or banana brandy?
I have.
There's about a 95% chance that was bread yeast too.
Really, because I'll tell
Yeah.
you what,
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, that
Listen,
Yeah.
Big Easy ain't buying no expensive yeast.
he turned me on. It was 2 years ago at Maggie Valley. He turned me on a couple jars of that peach brandy. In fact, the first time I met him was at Winter Jam, and he turned me on a jar of that post flavor peach that he did. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that shit was phenomenal.
In my opinion, his banana brandy is some of the best I've ever had. man.
I haven't had the. I don't think I've had the banana. I might have, but I was too drunk to remember.
That banana is a solid jar of liquor, man. It really, really is.
That's right, Big Easy. Keep trying, motherfucker. Keep trying.
Keep trying, Big Easy. Keep trying.
I love the way he mashes those apples, man, with that 2x4. Hey, nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. I just love watching him do it.
I gotta send you some pictures of him working some apples with a hoe.
Oh yeah, the hoe.
Wait, are we talking about the same kind of hoe?
No,
No, we're not using big sturge.
Okay, all right.
but and that's the beautiful thing, man, about any kind of liquor making. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, find one person that knows what they're doing, and use that person as a mentor.
Absolutely.
But
As
still,
long as they're not a piece of shit.
Well, you learn that along the way.
yeah. Well, there's reasons why I was a piece of. We'll get into that in a second.
Uh-oh.
But and then you can talk to other people and hear how they do things, and you can kind of cherry pick how everybody does something, what they're doing, and you can make your own way. That's what I like about
Yeah, I
it.
say this all
Yeah.
the time. It also revolves in my work. I mentor a lot of people at work. I'm the old guy. And you can learn it my way. I can teach you my way, but you're going to tweak it your way to make it
That's
your
right.
own. And
Yeah.
that's fun. And it's cool. Awesome. Do it.
Yeah, I tell the same people what I do. I'll get new hires in, like, I'm going to show you how I do it, and then you figure out what works for you, and then master however you need to do it. But
Hey guys,
yeah,
I want to do a little break here and do a little ding, ding, ding. Let's do a shot.
This motherfucker. That's a shot.
Yeah. Let's do a
I'll do a pull. I'm not doing a shot.
All right, do a pull then.
John's getting too old for shots.
Hey, look, man. I don't. You can ask Uncle Joey. How often do I drink, man?
He doesn't.
I
So
don't.
listen. So I'm trying to introduce Sean into some bourbons. He likes some of them. He doesn't like some of them. But I'll get him over here, man, and we'll get about 3 bourbons in, and I can see him. He's getting his color's changing a little bit. I'm like, damn, bro. But he I don't drink that much either. But it's just funny. A couple bourbons, and I can see it in him. So yeah,
I definitely don't like.
A couple of bourbons in. I'm just getting started.
yeah.
The most I used to usually drink, is when I would go to Maggie Valley. That's the time of year I would tie one on, usually.
You did last year.
But I didn't last year.
Well, that being said, sir, are you planning
you
on
did.
going to Valley this year?
Then I used to hung out with Wes till 4 in the morning.
Okay, I lied. Yes, I did. First time.
I remember
What?
waking up and I looked out there. You guys were still sitting out there. I was like, "Oh my God, guys!"
Yeah. Man, I'm not real sure if I'm planning on going this year or not. Probably not.
Damn it.
I don't know, man. It just depends. It's certain things got to line up, and
I hear you. No, I get it. We all got our
all
own
the
lives. We're
festivals.
gonna do shit, dude. Things come up. We got responsibilities. I get it.
Well,
Yeah.
I just heard some people say the attendance wasn't so great at the popcorn jam this weekend.
It
So,
wasn't. Yeah.
people got a lot going on nowadays, man, and money's tight. It ain't cheap to travel like that. So,
Especially with the
Well,
economy. Yeah.
it's not, especially when you go to these places and they jack the fucking room rates up to where it's $1,000 for a weekend just to
Yeah.
stay. That's insane, man. And
Dude, I booked my hotel a couple months ago there where we stayed last year, and
Yeah.
$800 for 4 nights. I mean, come on, man.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
you
going
know-
down there. It used to be like $300 for 4 days.
Exactly.
You know, like
David Stevens says, "Well, I've been. Hold on, let me highlight this shit so everybody can read it."
retired for a year.
and
That's cute.
I hope we get, talk about events. We've got the Farm to Bottle up here in Ohio, and that's another one, man. We we
Are
get a
you
lot
going
of
to the
people.
Farm to Bottle, Uncle Joe?
What's that?
Are you going to Farm to Bottle?
Uh, I will be at Farm to Bottle, but there's another event that I'm going to be attending that day, and we're actually having them on the podcast. It's called the 10-Man Benefit Run. It's
Yep.
actually the
With
same day
Tater.
as Farm to Bottle.
I'll
It's
be
a
there
great
with you.
event. They raise money they pick someone to donate the money to. It's usually somebody, I think, that needs some kind of large medical procedure. Like, did they do like a heart transplant or something, Sean? Or I forget what they.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's a great event. But it's the same day as Farm to Bottle is, unfortunately. Tater and Judd.
We'll be
Judd's last
there.
name.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
that being said, Joey, it's a run event. Are you running?
Huh?
Are you
No,
running?
it's a motorcycle ride.
Oh.
It's a benefit run. No.
I thought you were
It's a
doing
big
a truck.
poker run.
yeah, I'm surprised. Like, I've seen one advertisement for it, and it's been Philbilly on the Moonshine Militia Facebook page. I haven't seen any kind of advertisement anywhere else for the Farm to Bottle, which is very fucking surprising, seeing it's going to be like 4 to 5 months away.
Yeah, I've seen Dan Gray has had some live Facebook events that he's interviewed some people on there. But other than that, I haven't seen a lot for Farm to Bottle. I really wish we could get a little more advertisement and get a little bit more of it out there. I really hope we can get the community involved a little bit more, because I feel like that festival's struggling a little bit. I hope we can help it out. I really do.
Well, again, I'm not to cut you off, but as much as we travel to Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, and support those festivals, why can't fucking people travel up here from down there? That's bullshit. Just because we're in Ohio, we're out of the moonshine territory. It's fucking bullshit. If you support
Yeah.
moonshine, get your fucking ass up here.
Totally
Period.
So let's me and Sean, let's talk about that's a conversation that we've had in our little group message, and you are right there. Ohio
I know.
does. I feel like Ohio does support a lot of these festivals. You see a lot of us Ohio guys down in Tennessee and down in these places, but when it comes to the Farm to Bottle, we are limited to some of the people. We are fortunate. Tater's been up, Daniel Stevens has been up. We have been fortunate to get some of these guys up. Bean came up, but we don't get the real draw like I thought we would, the way Ohio supports some of these other ones. So
You're right.
it would be nice if we could get some more out-of-state support.
Well, I mean, what's going to end up happening is people are going to quit traveling south.
Yeah, no, and you're right.
And they already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look what happened to popcorn this weekend.
Yep. And it's well, and I'm not going to be a dick in any other way other than say, all this is, a moonshine related shit, but I've tasted a lot of shitty liquor out of them states, south. I'm just saying, and fake liquor.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
That's all,
Dude,
I mean,
hey, you know what? Every
Don't
time.
call brandy a brandy if it ain't a brandy.
Oh,
That's
please.
right.
Exactly. Just because you flavored it.
yeah, you
Just
put,
because
you
it tastes
add-
like something, don't mean it's a brandy.
yeah,
Hey, in fact, last year, every year actually, I've had people walk up to me, hey, I want you to try this, give me your opinion. Dude, There's been a couple times, more than a couple times, I walked away with the squirts.
Listen,
Yeah.
it was very interesting. I say it as a beginner hobbyist in the craft. I have some very good people that I can lean on, and I have some very solid people that I get my advice and information from. So I've made some decent jars of liquor right off the bat. I don't want to say right off the bat, but I was fortunate enough to where I learned on how to mash in properly and how to you know what I mean? Like I
I,
learned from these guys and
say that.
I didn't have to guess. I didn't have to take gambles on stuff. I had these guys. So it was just interesting. I made some pretty decent liquor before, and I've handed it to people, and they've agreed. I've even handed a jar of Philbilly his own recipe of his sweet corn recipe, and he took a drink and said, "Uncle Joey, that's what it's supposed to taste like." So that makes me feel good. But I handed my jar of liquor to somebody down in Maggie Valley, and the guy turned up his nose, and he said, "Oh my God!" And this guy told me he never drinks any of his liquor until he filters it 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. And ask me how many times I filter liquor.
Yeah,
None. Only time I ever filter liquor is I'll put if I'm running a personal size still, I'll put like a fucking some
Coffee
kind,
filter.
coffee filter something on the jar so it keeps the fucking bugs out,
Right.
But I won't even do that if it's a brandy because it'll pull the flavor out of it.
Daniel Stevens says this about everybody. Daniel Stevens says that everybody say, "Hey, you're my hero." Everybody but me, I should say. Then he turns around and he always says, "Mine is
This ain't
terrible."
terrible.
He always says it's terrible. Yeah, whatever, Daniel.
Hey, and this is all I think this might be all there is left. He might have one other bottle.
Hey, Chris is old school, man. He's been around for a while, man.
That's good.
Thanks for watching, Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Thanks for coming in, buddy. He says, "I admit it." Oh, hell yeah.
But a lot of people. I'm not going to include myself, but I mean, a lot of people that should get credit when it comes to making good spirits don't, just because they're from a northern state, and it's really fucking annoying.
Well,
Here's
there
what's
is
crazy, and
I
you
will
are
say
correct.
I
But I'm
know.
gonna tell you this. I will say this. I don't want to say I've had all the legal corn liquor that's out there, but I've had a handful of legal distilleries corn liquor, and I will tell you this: Ohio has the best legal corn liquor out there on the market. I promise you. Pabst Hilltop Distillery
as
in
far
Bay
as
Bridge,
what you
Ohio,
get. As far as what
puts
you
out
get.
yes, puts out some of the best legal corn liquor on the market. You're not going to get any better. It's
So
just
far,
like what you're going to run in your garage, man. It's legit.
Well, I mean, it's like when we were down there filming, when Mark tasted the liquor that we were handing in. He's like, "Damn, this is what we want every time." And I'm like, "Cool." I got a good nod, from somebody that should have an idea what good liquor is.
So let me ask you this, Sean. What's the talking about? I want to get back on the still talking institute because that's what you're doing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's the biggest difference between teaching distilling and doing it? Did I just ask? I did ask that. Yeah.
Well,
Kinda.
in my opinion, it's like I said. I have my way of doing things, but when I teach somebody or I tell somebody, I like to give them, tell them what your good base options are.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Kind of like we were talking about what you told Joey, and Joey's like, "Fuck, you wouldn't give me a straight answer." Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to try it with this yeast, go ahead. You want to try it with this yeast, go ahead. If you want to try it with this yeast, go ahead. But be sure to let it sit for a while. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or a lot of people will light the fire.
So, that
Go ahead.
sir. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's sparked something in my mind. That's why when I go to distill and pitch my yeast, I use very little yeast because I don't want that yeast flavor to come over. But from what you're saying, if you let it sit, all that yeast is going to sit at the bottom. You're not going to get it anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean when it all settles to the bottom, as long as you let it sit long enough,
See,
it'll fall out of suspension, sit at the bottom, and you leave that yeast bed. Don't fucking shake your barrel or whatever it is.
Yeah, don't do
Set
that.
your pump down. Yeah, exactly. Daniel Stevens. Patience pays the business.
Yeah.
But put your pump down in there and leave it about that high off the bottom, and you won't even disturb the yeast bed at all. Now, some people, I'm not going to throw his name out there, but he's the bald guy on Philbilly. If he's running a grain, he'll tip the barrel over, he'll take that pump, and he'll slam that son of a bitch down at the bottom.
I've seen him do it.
Now,
But hey,
to get all he can.
And see, I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer of once your mash has worked off because of these guys, to rack it into a secondary vessel and then let it clear.
And
Yeah,
absolutely,
People don't do that. Some
that's
people pump that shit right into the still.
now
Right.
I'm known to pump it right in the still if it's a grain. But again, I'll let it settle till everything settles down to the bottom. Now, if it's fruit, I side with Big Easy, pump that shit into a secondary barrel, let it sit for another week or so, and then pump it into the still. A guy that taught me about that, his name was Tyler Croft. A lot of people probably don't know who he is, but if you watch the Moonshine show way back, when Jeff and Mark and Jeff, when they ran that great big 700-gallon still, there was two guys that come in and they ran that still overnight for them. It was Tyler and Mike Peak and Tyler Croft, and that's what he taught me, that essentially fruit you get to a second fermentation is what he called it, even though it really wasn't. It was just you rack it off, let it settle.
So let me ask you this, Sean. If someone wants to get serious about distilling, where would they start?
Serious about distilling, where would they start?
Yeah.
I would say do a lot of research. I would say talk to some seasoned people and figure out.
I was waiting for a totally different answer.
No.
I was waiting for you to say sign up for
No.
the classes.
No.
And these moonshine, no, I'll agree. These moonshine groups are a good way to get started. The Institute is more of something, once you've been in these groups and you want to gain some knowledge, then you jump in the Institute, and then you learn more.
Well, the way I wanted to structure that is, as you know, if you get up in the Facebook groups, you can ask 14 people, actually 40 people, the same question, an easy question, and you'll get fucking 20 different answers on top of the 20 same answers.
Yeah.
Because again, some people do it differently. Some people don't even own a still and they put their input in. But that's why I always tell people, find a mentor, essentially one person that knows what they're doing. That way you can ask them, and then also you can lean on other people and find out how they do it, and you can take all those ways and then you can make your own way. But the way I structure it is basically like I said before, it'll give you a solid foundation.
Cool.
You have
And
temperatures.
Sean, when I first started, I did. I was on Facebook. I searched up moonshine groups, and back then, and I signed up for. I joined a couple of the groups, 3 or 4 of them. And I hate to say this, I really do, but it's the truth. When I would go in there, and I would ask a stupid question, and I got down bad, man. I've had people cussing me out. You stupid ass. So I that's why I started Morgan's Moonshine Group. That's why I started, because you know what? There's no dumb question. We all started somewhere.
That's right. The only dumb question is the one not asked, in my opinion. Some people will argue that, and I think somebody had said something like, well, I don't know about that, but in my opinion, in this field, the only one is the one not asked, because if you don't ask, you don't know.
Exactly. And you got to learn sometime, and that's why a lot of these people join these groups to learn.
Well,
and that's why a lot of them leave, because they get beat on so bad.
Well,
and then
I
the
will
guys
say
that
this
they're-
about that. It has gotten a lot better. It has gotten better.
Yeah. Well, I think over the years, people have weeded out certain people.
Yeah.
I'm back in Moonshine Life because, Mike and Tyler,
Don't do
just
it.
because that Dusty Moonshine character, finally got booted out. But I saw he was back in the other day. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna touch on that.
Oh, Dusty Moonshine.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. Daniel said, "Ask a stupid question on group text. It's free game." That's fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, and he's talking about an individual group text, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not a
Yeah,
Facebook group.
Right.
That's
No,
a group of stone cold killers, is what that is.
No, I didn't. I just shaved it down. I shaved all the gray out of it, my man. See, some people still have hair.
Oh, hey.
Hey, don't sweat, it'll run purple.
Sean, don't.
Sorry.
Sean, don't do that to yourself, man. When you get to be my age, then we'll talk, all right?
I'm just talking about the beard. I'm not talking about the head.
Big Easy hating, throwing the hate tonight.
Well, you know.
Yeah, Big Easy, what's up, brother? So, yeah, so that being said, we've talked about going on and asking stupid questions. So I want to ask you, what's the most common mistake distillers make?
That's a great question, man. A lot of them, I don't want to say they're mistakes. I just feel like they're ignorance. It's ignorance.
Not seeking the right knowledge, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know,
I feel like patience. I feel like, in my opinion, me being new,
That's big.
patience is it's a very helpful tool to a new distiller is patience, because I can get a little antsy and a little impatient sometimes, and I just have to learn to sometimes you just gotta wait, man.
For me,
That's my input, what I've learned.
For me, part of the slogan, low and slow, is that you just take it easy, go slow. You know, it's not just low and slow heat or taking your time with the run. It's also just taking time and be patient.
Yeah, you know, and that goes back to like cooking grain. You know, some people, there's multiple ways to do that. You know, you can actually put the grain in the pot, boil the water, you know, with the fire on. You can do that. I wouldn't always
Just
recommend
scorch.
that.
You
Yeah,
got a chance to scorch
you know, or you can put your grain in a barrel, and then you can boil your water and dump it on there. You know,
That's the
Or
way
you-
I learned.
or you can.
That is how I learned from these guys. They're like, man, fuck cooking that. Fuck
Yeah.
standing there and stirring that shit they say dump it in there, it'll do just fine.
Or
Daniel.
you can boil your water,
You should
shut the
feel
heat
bruised.
off, and then dump your grain in the pot, you know,
Yeah.
and stir it that way. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of the mistakes come from a lack of knowledge, and that's why, again, like I was saying, I like to give people a decent foundation, because once you have a foundation, then you can do whatever you want, you know. Like somebody in here, I'm not going to say who, he likes to run without a thumper. You know, he learned that in trial and error. That's what he likes to
That's
do.
fine.
So,
Dude, for years, like the first 5, 6 years, I ran without a thumper.
well, and the two old boys I know that my cousin introduced me to, they've never seen a thumper in person. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they just always double back it. And I told him, I said, I'm going to bring one down here. We're going to set it up on this fucking still here. And because now his dad's passed away, unfortunately. His son's a little younger than me, so now I can kind of, you know, I mean, he's a little newer school than his old man, but I'm like, here, man, let's try this one time. Keep one jar with, you know, double back, and then keep another jar, and tell me which one's which.
There you go.
And and I'm not pressuring you, but after that, you know, make your educated decision, because he does it to make money, as to where I don't.
We do
you
it
know.
for the hobby, right?
Yeah, you know. So, in my opinion, if you're doing it for that, it makes more sense to run a thumper and run it one time.
So when you don't run a thumper, do you do a heads cut or do you catch it all?
Oh, absolutely. I do.
You do a heads cut.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Uncle Joe, you need to give us more information. You mean like when you run it again, or you just run it one time and done?
If you know you're running without a thumper and you're going to run twice, do you do a heads cut on the first run, or you just collect everything?
I mean, I personally, out of habit, I would do a heads cut.
Yep.
Some people I've seen don't do it. They'll run it all the way down and then they'll put it back in and then they'll do their cut.
Well, the
I,
reason why I was on a podcast one night, late night, and I was watching Good Old Bad Santa, and that was brought up on his podcast, and he's like, "Why would you want to put heads into that? Because you know what I mean, like the alt flavor that you get from the heads, even though you know you're going to distill it again." Why would you want to put that in there? And some guys were hammering him like, you're going to rerun it anyway. It shouldn't matter. Yada yada. I just was curious on your guys' opinion on that.
I agree with Santa.
Yeah, again, but I know you agree with Santa, and I do too. But again, it's a matter of opinion.
Yep, you're right.
You know, if not, I sure hope they're throwing a larger head cut than what they normally would.
The second,
on the second run.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the second run. You know, but everybody's different. Everybody runs the thing. Their stills differently. Some will run it faster. Some will run it slower. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with. Like I said, out of habit, it doesn't matter. If I'm running it, I'm throwing the heads. It doesn't matter. Every shot, I will lose the little bit amount of liquor that I throw off, than to have that in the second run.
Yeah. I was just curious. I've heard a couple, and I did just kind of wanted to know both of your guys' opinions on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. Heads go every time.
I've always ran with the thumper. No, I take that back. When I first started running my little 3-gallon that I bought off Philbilly, Moonshine.com.
Did that come with that?
Bag.
No. Didn't you get a bucket of molasses with that?
I bought a bucket of molasses.
Uncle Joe, you're a piece of shit. Hey, you'll get that molasses the same time Jason gets his 6-jar setup, or 5 or whatever it is.
Oh hell!
That's from Big Easy, not Phil. Anyway.
Hey, it's about the same time that Easy will get his money for that tater jar.
So, I want to ask you, Sean, what's your favorite style of spirit to make, and why?
Here we go.
My favorite style of spirit to make is the one that I don't make.
What?
It's the one that my still hand Big Easy makes.
All right.
No. But so I got to twist that knife when I can, but no. I'm a brandy guy. It's not that I prefer making it. I prefer drinking a brandy. So, and it doesn't matter to me. To me, a shitty brandy is better than a good corn.
All right. I like that.
That's just. And I
brandy myself. I love brandy.
And to be fair, Sean, if he is to drink corn, he likes a converted corn. Am I correct?
No.
You like sugar?
Yeah.
See, I thought you like a converted, no sugar.
If I don't like corn, why the fuck would I like a converted corn over sugar?
Because
come on, man.
You get so much heat. I mean, I don't know.
Oh man, that was funny.
But no. Now listen, okay. So we got some liquor a while back from a distillery in, I think it was Tennessee, and Easy said it was clean. Okay, because it came through plates. Well, I don't particularly like grain. I can appreciate good liquor, don't get me wrong. But I'm a brandy guy, so when I try the liquor and it's clean, like it's ran through plates, I'm happy with that liquor.
But it still has a nice grain taste. Yeah, it still, you can still taste the grain.
Yeah, but you don't get that deep.
Yeah.
You don't get that real rough grain.
Which that comes to this comment with my Daniel.
Hey, gotta get that support shine, baby.
Yeah.
Support shine's what I like. So it's support shine. I call it support shine because that shit pays child support. Used to pay child support, and that was just straight cane sugar and cracked corn. So, yep.
I want to make a comment about this comment. Only thing Sean runs is his mouth. Now, that being said, Now, when I watch Still Talking, which I want to talk about next, is uh, the only one I see running their mouth is Joey. So, what's up with that? Why is Joey like the key guy and he's going on and nobody else talks? What's going on?
Well, that's a great question,
No, they're actually that is a good question. Actually, it really is.
and I'm gonna answer why.
Yes.
Because when Uncle Joey was with American Whiskey,
Oh,
he
yeah.
never got to fucking talk
Good point.
because he was a piece of shit and he would drown out everybody else in the fucking podcast.
No. And
But I'll
listen.
tell you what, by good reason too.
So here's what happened.
Yeah, man.
I'll be perfectly honest with you, man. And so Sean was going through a time where he was super busy and he really could not be a part of the podcast. I had gotten kicked off of American and Whiskey, and uh, these guys just said, "Hey," actually it was Sean. He said, "Hey, come on over. I'm busy. I can't do a lot." And me being new into distilling, man, I got questions. I'm a newbie.
Oh, yeah.
So they said, you asking all those questions is a good thing. Easy's like, I'm done asking questions. I've interviewed all these people. I don't want to ask no more questions. So it was like, I was like a fresh face to get them kind of like more questions and more, because, I'll be honest. I feel like if I didn't step in at that time, I don't want to say Still Talking may have kind of phased out, but I don't know how much they would have really done because I was pushing it, man. I was really pushing these guys. I wanted to keep this podcast
Oh,
going
yeah.
because, and I'll be dead honest, and it used to piss Sturge off, and I'll say this on this podcast, he used to get mad at me because I would talk about how much I liked the style of Still Talking podcast because it was very informative. They were interviewing people that had knowledge, and they were giving that knowledge to people, and I really enjoyed that.
No,
So when the
and-
opportunity came for me to be a part of that, man, I was jumped in as soon as I could, and I appreciate these guys letting me. And I run my mouth a lot, I know.
No, dude, you're funny. No,
Yeah,
that's
really. I
no, seriously.
appreciate these guys, I really do.
Well, hey, and it would have been sorry to cut you off, Mark, but it would have been the same for anybody that's on AAW, and that's what I try to tell people. If Sturge was like, man, I'm done with podcasts, or even Dylan, I'd be like, hey, man, look, if you want,
I
you
don't
got
know
to.
about Dylan.
I said it. I would say you have a spot here. I would at least give the opportunity, just because
that
I might be an asshole, but that's really the type of guy I am when it comes to
we're
that.
talking
And that's,
about.
he's 100% correct. That's the exact same conversation he had with me. He said, man, if you want to do this, I don't want you to stop doing this. I want you to have the opportunity to continue to do this. He said, come on.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I'm glad you did. I really am.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you and I joined up. We started to.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, I got something to say to you, sir. I make good beer. You know that. You know that, Matt. Come on, man.
Well, and and I understand, it wasn't my podcast. It was somebody else's, and that person wanted to be the voice, the face, and that's not what I was about. I want to be a part of a group. I
Sure.
want to be a part of a group that us as a group, we ask questions, we interview people, and that's what I wanted to be a part of, and I really appreciate what they've allowed me to do over at Still Talking.
Absolutely. I have to make this comment while we're talking about A&W. I just have to. The last time I saw their live, they had 2 weenies in a bun. I'm like, and they're girls dressed up in
Oh
these
yeah, they
suits.
had the girls from Florida. They had a hot dog cart. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nice.
What the fuck? Anyway.
You know, for
You guys
whatever
don't make
reason,
fun about 2 locals in a jar. Okay, yeah.
for whatever reason, they've decided to take that direction of that podcast to a little different place. I hope it works out for them. I have no bad blood for any of
Oh,
those
yeah.
boys over there at American and Whiskey.
I
They're all
wish they
good dudes, and I hope they succeed, and I hope
absolutely.
they find happiness in what they're doing. I really do.
I wish they would go live more. I don't know
Me
if they.
too.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
After I watched that weenie one, I was like, I'm done. Chris, I came up with the running a 7-gallon still with no thumper. Everything had to be run twice. Absolutely. And then watered to 40% and fired the
Okay.
still up again. Well, that made excellent liquor, but it takes a lot of time to do it that way. Absolutely right. That's why I when I got my still, I got a bigger still with a thumper.
Yep.
Then after a couple of years, then everyone wants to go bigger from 7-gallon stills to doing 50s, glass jar thumpers, hell of a lot better equipment. Yes, absolutely. You know what?
Well,
We talk about this a lot, and guys. A lot of people, especially newbies nowadays, starting off with beavers. There's nothing wrong with a beaver. I don't personally like them, but you know what? You learn. You learn from it.
yeah,
And you can always upgrade.
not to throw stones, but Mr. Lemaster, he's all about a beaver, and I think it's because his hero heroes Phil Billy Moonshine. Not trying to throw more stones or nothing, but they got like steak and beaver, man. I mean, them
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Hey,
They just
Hey, I think Phil Billy lives in a beaver house.
yeah.
they work out of a beaver garage and stuff, man. So
Yes.
it's a
What do you
normal
say? His
house.
house is bought and paid for by beaver.
No, I always like to bust their balls because it doesn't matter. Easy can be like, man, anybody got any extra sticks of 1 inch copper? I'm like, hey, Beaver does. They'll send you some.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because for all those years, man, I mean, them motherfuckers, they get all kinds of shit from Beaver. But, you know. But yeah, that educational thing, that clitoris, I love that name, by the way. Um, but yeah, that's how I look at it. You know, if you give somebody a decent base, and the reason why I started the institute essentially was to block out all the bullshit that you can get in some of these groups, because you don't. If you're just starting and you don't know, then sometimes you don't know what's good information and what's
Right.
bad.
You're right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So
It-
that
we-
way, yeah,
That being said, sir, I mean, come on, think about it. When we're on, we check the news. You're getting bad information, and you don't know
Yeah.
what's right, what's true, what's not. Yeah, absolutely. It's the same way in this.
yeah,
So,
Well, and you know what's even crazier? You're in these groups, and people don't realize you can actually personally message some of these shiners, and they will answer your questions. Yeah, it might take them a few days. They've got jobs, they've got lives, they've got shit going on, but they will eventually answer your questions, and they will give you 100% answers as to how they would do it themselves, and they'll give you multiple other pieces of advice to you could try this, you can try this. So I think, if anything, if you guys are out there and you have these questions, don't be afraid to ask, man. These guys are awesome individuals, and they want you to make good liquor. They don't want you to make bad liquor. They don't want you to have a bad experience and give it up the hobby.
right.
They want you to enjoy it just as much as they enjoy it. And, man, I don't know why they would want to give bad information. Some guys do, and I don't get that, man. I
Well,
see some of these groups, these guys are just pricks, and they want to give bad information. I don't understand it, but
and I think personally, I think a lot of it has to do because sometimes the people asking the questions don't give all the
yeah,
information
yes,
in the
the detail.
question. Yeah, because they may say start talking about running things, 4 and 5 times or whatever, but they might not say that. Well, I'm running a 4 or 5 plate vodka tower.
Well,
You
or
know,
the old. What I see most of anything, and some of them, my mash stalled. What did I do wrong?
right?
They're
Well,
so,
well,
man.
and my
I'm new
first
to this, and still I can tell you, there's probably a list this
yeah.
effing long of things you could have done wrong.
Well, and my first question is, well, what was your gravity to start out with?
Yeah,
And a lot of times, I'm gonna say 7 to 8 times out of 10, it's I don't know, I didn't check it. Well, you probably have a very high sugar content because you probably cooked your grains and then you probably fucking put 2 pounds per gallon of sugar, and you added the enzymes, so you probably got like a 1.1 whatever,
right.
and it's probably stopped working at 1.04.
Well, and let's be honest, you were in the water industry field for a little while. Not everybody's pH of what the water they're putting in is the same.
No,
What you're putting in right off the bat, and I asked, when I first started distilling and when I first started my journey, I asked Sean, what's our water like, and he said your water's good, because he already knew, not only because of him previous distilling, but because of the work that he'd done. He knew,
yeah,
look, water's good here.
yeah.
You can use that water, because I hear a lot of people
Well,
say, You
That's
got
a
to fill a
great.
50-gallon barrel full of water and let it sit for 24 hours to let all the chlorine burn off or what. I've heard
Well,
so many different shit you're supposed to do.
and you can see Lemasters. He'll pump a fucking barrel full of water. It'll be as clear as the driven snow. But then you let that shit sit for 24, 48 hours. That shit turns about as orange as Uncle Joey's face is right now.
Damn.
Yeah,
You been out in the sun, Joey?
all day.
No, hey, sorry for the interruption.
But no, you're fine.
Dark had to
That's,
pee.
that's a great just topic. We could go on and on and on
Yeah.
forever about that, and I'm glad we're on that because I've asked that question earlier, Sean, about the pH, and it does. It makes a big difference, and it does make a big difference on your water. And that's why you get a lot of these guys from Appalachia. They say, "Oh, it's lime water. I get spring water." They go on and on about it. The biggest part about any of your water, as long as it has nutrients for that, for your yeast.
Yep.
Am I not
And-
right?
And yep, and I don't want to cut you off, but one of the things I've noticed, and there's a lot of people that are probably going to disagree a little bit, but that's okay because again, it goes back to you doing it your way and I do it my way. Well, you can use okay, Appalachia. Okay, you got all these springs and all this and all that. Well, people will take the water and ferment it with the water.
Right.
Okay, which is fine. Well, and then they'll run the still and then they'll proof it down with the water,
The same water.
the same water. Hey, if that works for you and it don't cloud up, fucking great. But
Good luck.
9 times, well, I'm gonna say 8 times out of 10, you do have minerals in that water that you don't want, and you're going to wind up with cloudy liquor. Now, again, you can proof liquor down too far any other time and cause the louche effect where it does, cloud up. But again, if that's what you do and you've perfected your process and it works great, then by all means, don't fucking change it. But that goes back to, how you were taught, how you do it, what works for you,
What
and
works for you, right?
But
And we get in a comfort zone, just like. Sorry, Sean.
no,
Damn, I keep doing that.
you're all right.
I just recently tried working with some different grains to go with my potato. Dude, it made a huge difference. Huge
Yeah.
difference. And I'm over here freaking out, going, "What the fuck? What the fuck just happened, man?" So yeah, you do. You get in the comfort zone of running whatever you're used to, and then you try something different. It's a learning curve. It's totally different, guys.
Yep. And speaking of a learning curve, before I forget, Uncle Joey, sorry.
No.
Again, it goes back to the basics. What I tell, I like to build a solid foundation. So once you've built a solid foundation and you're comfortable doing what you're doing, and you do want to try something, I recommend changing one thing at a time. And I'll explain why. Because if you have a good solid foundation and you change 4 things, well, you change the 4 things, and then all of a sudden you don't like something. How are you going to know what you don't
Which
like?
one was it fucked up? You're right.
Exactly. So I always tell people, if you have a solid foundation and you want to try things, try one thing at a time. That way okay, I like that. I like that. Oh shit, I don't like that. Well, you know what your problem is and you know how to fix it the very next time. You don't have to run the same thing 4 times to figure out what that problem is.
Right.
So you're talking like experimenting with like a yeast or
Yeah.
a different,
A different water, proofing it down. Yeah.
And that's what I did recently. I tried a different water. I wanted that flavor profile to come over more. So I
Yep.
thought if I got rid of the city water,
Yep.
which gets rid of all your nutrients, but mainly because me being I don't do it anymore, but I used to have a saltwater aquarium.
Yeah.
I had a 180-gallon saltwater aquarium. Well, to do the refresh on that, you have to add RO water.
Yep.
Guess what? Dumbass did. I tried OR water.
Okay.
Dude, it has no nutrients whatsoever. That shit crashed so fast, that pH went whoa. Real quick.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing too, like with say sugar wash, right? You know how we talked about that and how I said, again, I'm not an advocate for turbo yeast, but nowadays if I'm trying to run some sugar wash,
Start
I'll
calling
keep it.
Strong turbo yeast Rigsby.
I'll keep it around 10% now. Maybe bump it a little higher, but I'll throw some grain in there. That way the grain is enough nutrients you won't get much flavor at all, but it'll still be enough nutrients for the ferment itself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but again, that's just stuff you learn along the way, and you got to try different things to figure out what works for you, and what works for me may not work for you in Florida or Bennett, North Carolina, or Mark and Digger in Tennessee. You know, I mean, but again, you can ask about every one of them people the same question, and I guarantee you get a very similar answer because we've all put in the work and we've all fucked up, and you know whether you admit it or not. If you ran liquor, you fucked up.
Yeah, okay, I'll guarantee it. I still fucked up.
Yeah, same.
I want to make a comment on this Clint Torres, and I agree with you 100%. Clint, I love that name. 10 to 15 gallons is ideal for beginners. I agree with that.
Yep.
You talked earlier about guys starting off on beavers. There's nothing wrong with trying to learn on a beaver, but if you want to learn cuts and stuff, you need to have 10, 15 gallons.
Yep.
You do. You're not going to do your cuts properly unless you have a good run.
Yeah. And I always like to push beer kegs, man. It's not that, I'm making any money on them because I'm not, but you can get a beer keg just about anywhere.
Right.
And nowadays, I'm going to say like 95 to 98% of them are stainless. Ever since they quit making the aluminum in the 70s, but they are out there, but you're randomly going to find them. But
just don't get a used or old one. Yeah.
Right. And again, you can take a beer keg and chuck that son of a bitch right down the fucking road, pick it up, set it on a burner, and light it back up as to where you can't do that with a copper pot.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And to add to that, we're talking about experimenting, trying different things. When I want to try something new, I didn't this time. Bad.
Right.
But yeah, it's a perfect example to try something, a smaller scale, do a 5-gallon keg still, a 10-gallon keg still.
Yep.
Dude, it's perfect to learn on and try it. And then there's a big difference now. Good subject to bring up again as well, but switching over from a keg still to a pot still, copper pot still. There's a learning curve there as well.
Yeah, but do you honestly feel like there's a lot of flavor difference?
From my experience, I did a test. I did the same mash bill. I did 25 gallons instead of 20, which my pot's 20. So I put 20 in the copper still, and I put 5 in the stainless. And I ran them both at the same time. And there's very little difference, but yes, I will say the copper did come up tasting better.
Yeah.
Very little.
Well, and that's why I don't know what kind of plumbing you had with the stainless, but that's why I always tell people if they use kegs, run copper from there over,
And that's what I have. I've got copper coming
Okay, yep.
But like I said, there was very little difference. And yeah, I was told years ago when I first got started in this, Sean, through these group talks, a couple of guys reached out to me and they said, Uncle Moonshine, there's a huge difference. Don't ever go anything away from copper. So I had to try it for myself. Like I said, you hear stuff from different people all the time. Everybody's got their own opinions and whatnot. So I had to try it for myself. So that's why I did that.
That's the best way to do it. So we always tell him, you don't know until you try. There's always a different way.
And you can supplement that copper by adding copper into the pipes, whatever.
Yep. Well,
there's different ways to do that. So.
And my thing is, if you take a stainless pot, run it through copper piping, and you hand a jar to a guy that they're really not real sure what's, you know what I mean? If they've never ran a tube and they know the difference, they're probably not going to know the difference.
They're not. I promise you.
Some of the best liquor I've ever had come through a stainless pot. Yep. The guy's a piece of shit, and he fed me dog food one night when I was drunk as fuck.
Oh, man.
Fuck you, Adam. But anyway.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He told me it was Chex Mix. I was so fucking drunk I couldn't. Man, yeah.
Man, I'm sorry, but I don't like people that do shit like that. No, I'm sorry.
Well, I had it coming. I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, he deserved it. Mark deserved it 100%.
100%.
But, I wasn't there, so I don't know, man.
But it was from him and his dad, and But like I said, you again, it's something that you get used to running.
Yeah.
So the longer you do it, I'm gonna say the better off, or the better it does get, in my opinion. And the one downside of that is every time you run a copper still, you lose some copper every time you run that still.
Every time, dude.
Every time.
This came up with me a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, dude, when I go to drain my pot after a run, I see copper in there. What the fuck's going on? And a lot of it's the acidity that
Yeah,
eating at the copper. So yeah,
yeah. And I love copper, man. The only thing I don't like about it is how fragile it is.
it's very fragile, and the bigger gauge you go, the better off you are. My
Yeah.
opinion. My opinion.
Actually, I had acquired one from North Georgia, and Uncle Joey can attest to how thick that one is. We're not going to talk about the size of it because it's pretty small, but that son of a bitch is heavy as fuck.
Hey, it can't be any smaller than the 2 gallon I got.
Nah,
I,
nah.
I I won that, and I just use it as a trophy. And people, when are you gonna run it? I'm not gonna run it. I'm not gonna get shit out of a 2 gallon still. I'm sorry, it's
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
I got a little quart size still that I got from when I won Master Distiller
Yeah,
that Kevin built.
right.
And I need to set that son of a bitch up on a stove, man. I do need to run it just because it'd make for a good video.
It would. I know.
But I asked him, I'm like, does that in the thumper does the pipe go? He says, yeah, it goes all the way to the bottom. He said you can paste it up and it'll run like a normal still. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
There's several of them out there. Tracy Bumgarner made those little miniature stills, and a couple of people, I won't name names, but they actually ran them and got a couple drips off of them. It makes for a good video. You're right. It makes for a
Yeah.
good video.
Well, and Uncle Moonshine, I'm gonna ask you, how do you like to? When you made a comment earlier, you said low and slow. I know you're supposed to be asking me questions, but
It's all good.
going back to everybody does it different. When you say low and slow on a 20 gallon, do you run a drip or do you run like a small stream, or how do you do
Both.
yours?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Usually on my runs, it's a drip stream, drip stream,
Yep.
stream. That's usually how it runs.
Well, and like I said, that goes back to, what you like to do and what this person likes to do. You can do all different things.
And a lot of people just do just a steady drip. Part of mine is, I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail about it, but especially where I'm at and I run electricity, my shed, the electricity sucks out here. So I have a lot of issues with it. So I have to run it a certain way. So
Hey, and a lot of times, you're the size of your worm, or a log egg.
hey.
No.
Yeah,
Or the live bag length,
through that,
I
Sean.
mean,
Damn it.
but no, a lot of that takes into consideration. If you're running a keg
You're right.
still with a live bag that's only 12 inches long, you can't run that thing real fast. You got to run it as slow as you
You
possibly
have
can.
to. You're right. You're right.
You know, but
It-
that's
that
that's
brings
what.
up another subject that I had. Joey was out that day because he was away on vacation or whatever. But I had a still builder on a podcast, Copper Moon, and we talked about that a lot. And the very beginning when I first started, I was doing a YouTube thing, and this old guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now because I'm retired and it's getting late, but his rule of thumb, and I found this to be true, and if you reach out to the old guys, the old heads, um, you want to do when you're going through a thumper into a worm, you want it to be a third of the size of your pot. A lot of guys like this still I've got, it's a 20 gallon, but I only have a 5 gallon worm. It should be a 7 gallon.
But should it though?
Well, it works. Let's say that. Let's just say it
Well,
works.
let me comment on that.
Please do.
I prefer a third, like you said. And I say a third. I mean, if I'm running a 50 gallon, I like at least a 10 gallon thumper, ish. But I've ran a 75, 80 gallon still with 6 half-gallon jars.
That's different.
And the only way that thing would run where I didn't have to shut it off and swap the jars out or empty them is I would leave the first jar empty, and then I would add whatever I wanted in the other ones,
See, I did mine opposite.
and it would do fine. And but well, now let me rephrase that a little bit. I would run it down to 90 proof and cut it off,
Okay.
because the reason I say that is because it started so high in proof that when I got to 120, it was already touching tails. So
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean. So I would
Yeah.
run my tails from 120 to 90 and call it done.
Sure.
But yeah, no, and that was the one that I sent to a distillery, and that was the one that they had put two elements in it, and what had happened was they were doing a double run. Well, when they put the liquor back over, they forgot to add water, and yeah, and
That's why you didn't get it back.
and they yeah, those elements, when they touched that vapor, when they became exposed, they lit up, and they peeled that son of a bitch like a pop can. Luckily, nobody was around.
Guarantee it.
And well, it's funny because he posted a picture of the still on Facebook, but it had an 80-gallon barrel on it. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck? So I texted him. I said, hey man, what happened to the pot? He's like, yeah, we had an incident. He said, we had an incident. I said, yeah. What kind of an incident did you have? And then he told me, and I'm like, that's worth the story, man. That pot is worth the story.
Well, you said that and we talked about this last time, Joey. There's a guy in Florida that his distillery blew up. He ended up dying over it.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't hear all the details or do a whole lot of research on it, but I think that might have been what happened. Is he's running a high distillate in his pot, and yeah, you can't do that. I've seen guys do it. I watched them do it with videos, and you're just asking for a disaster.
Well, and that's why, I always tell people, keep it around 80 proof, water it down, get to 80 proof. But again, I know people that'll run 120, 130, whatever, but make sure you got enough water in there so when you run it off, you still have liquid covering them elements.
Yes, absolutely. I watched a gentleman on Facebook. It's probably been a month and a half ago. He was running 140 proof in his pot. I was like, oh my
Yep.
God, dude! I had to get off. I couldn't watch. I was like, dude,
Yep.
I'm out here. I'm going.
Yep.
I don't want to watch this shit. I don't want to watch you kill yourself. But it ran fine. Lucky him.
And again, it's each person. You do it your way, just because you do it that way doesn't mean I'm gonna be standing next to your still with you while you're doing it that way.
I'm not
But
gonna watch
hey,
you either.
more power to you, my man. More power to you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Galladay has a question. What do you do in a big distillery?
Truck it in sometimes. Truck what in, Chris? The liquor
Or the mash?
or the mash?
Well, I know that a lot of guys, and Sean, I don't know about you personally, when you did your private run, I know for Alfredo, he did. He had to have his water brought in. He wanted to do a special water, had to bring his own mash grain in.
Yep. I didn't do that. I used the water they had on site. And one thing I did not do, which I think it was, so let's go back to the show a little bit.
Sure.
So I told you I added sugar to my mash, wash, whatever, depends on these people. So I added the sugar on the show, and we also, during the third run, we did infusion. So I added raspberries, strawberries, vanilla bean, and on the show I actually added honey as well. But when we made the mash at Sugarlands, I did not add sugar because we had the big cook pot, we had the agitator, we had the grain, and I'm like, you know what? No sugar. So, and I think the conversion that I got on that with all that flavor, it kind of covered up the infusion of the berries. So it wasn't as pronounced as I was hoping it was, but again, it's a decent grain liquor. And originally they had wanted to put berry flavored moonshine, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that because it's going to make people mad when they try it and they realize that It's not a berry flavored because we can't taste the berry because, as you know, and anybody in here, if you don't do a really, if you don't get a good infusion, you really don't get much of the flavor. It's more like a note,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
So
Chris Galladay,
yeah,
how about 45 or 4,500 gallons, and is it automatic? It's all automatic. How do you control that? It's
yes.
just-
Go ahead.
It's basically all the heat. You control it. You control it.
Well, when I done that one at Sugarlands, that still there was pretty much ran by temp, but we could adjust the heat with the steam heat
Sure.
with valves, but we had some issues there because someone said turn the valve up, and it puked a little bit, but yeah. You may never know in the jars you got, unless you know.
We're doing a second round, spirit round with electric elements. Always covering your elements with water before. Yeah, absolutely, sure, absolutely, totally agree. Clint's got some good stuff going on here. I appreciate you, Clint.
Hell yeah.
That will keep you from running your elements and drying and possible. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. You get lucky if they pop. That's about it.
Yeah, yeah. I've done it by accident. Great time.
Well, and that's the thing, you know. I mean, if you were to ask me, I would say, yeah, elements are safer than running fire, but you do have your different set of issues you got to worry about.
I'll tell you this. I want to share a story with you. Kind of a funny but stupid story. I met this guy on TikTok. He's a distiller new out in Hawaii, and he was doing a run live, and he was going on about it, and he was doing it with wood fire. And he had it in his head he had to get the temp up to 220. And I'm like, no, you don't. Dude, dude. He kept adding logs. I'm like, dude, stop. I'm trying to tell him on this live, stop. Do what you know. I know what I'm doing. Dude, that cap blew off and all that steam come rolling out around that fire. I was like, oh my God. He ended up cutting the camera off.
Yep.
I was like, man, I just expect him to come back and say I blew up.
Well, and that's I see so many people saying, you know, I've got my still turned up, or my heat turned up. My still says 185 degrees, and I'm still not producing any liquor. Well, you know, I always like to use the thermometers as a reference.
Reference. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because if you have electric, I'm not going to tell you to walk away from a still. You obviously never should walk away.
No.
But if you did walk away from a still, leave the cap off, and only the thermometer in the pot. And when I say that is reference the temp, because when you're getting to 160, 170, well, you know, maybe it's about time to put the cap on and sit there and hang around. But if you know, when Donnie Benton, he built a 50 gallon for me a long time ago, and he said, man, I said, you use these thermometers? He said, well, yeah, they're good to reference. He said, I can tell you what happens is, he says, you can turn that sumbitch way up, as long as you don't put no grain in there. He says, you can turn the fucker way up, and what happens is that will rise to 190. Once it hits to 190, turn it down, and by the time that thermometer hits 197, you're going to be putting out liquor. And son of a bitch, if I didn't call him, like 2 days later, I said, motherfucker, that was on the money. He said, yeah. He said, that's every still I build is the same, and it works out about the same way.
Yeah.
And
Right.
prior to that, I didn't run thermometers at all. But like I said, they're nice to have. And I said, and that thermometer was in the mash. That was not in the head or nothing like that.
Well,
Go ahead.
One of the things that I wanted to point out is, because I talked about Copper Moon earlier, and he was the only still builder that I know of that puts a thermometer right before the worm.
Who?
Copper Moon.
Okay.
And I love that idea because I do. I reference these thermometers. I watch the pot. I know when it's going to get in the cap, when it's hot in the cap. I know when it goes in the thumper. I watch the thermometer in the thumper. I know when it's going to start transferring. If I had a thermometer going right before the worm, I know exactly when that thing's going to run. I can watch the thermometer at the worm and know exactly when I'm going to get my drip.
Or you can touch the pipe.
That too. Hey, but I'll tell you this. Copper looks the same whether it's cold or hot.
You're damn right. Ask Sturge, he'll tell you. He learned that at Big Easy's that one time for beach. You remember that, Uncle Joey? Yeah.
He burned the shit out of himself.
Yeah, he did. But hey, you know what? He don't do that no more.
Nope.
It takes one time to learn. But again, that goes back. If you get used to running something without a thermometer, you don't need one. And if you get used to running one with a thermometer, generally you can figure out how to do it without it.
But just like you said, and I used to catch a lot of flack from a lot of the old heads for using a thermometer. They asked me, "So you use a thermometer?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I use it. I use it as reference."
Yeah.
And they used to give me shit about it all the time. But dude, it works for me. That's what works for me.
Yep.
Do what you want to do. That's what works for me.
Yeah. And see, Frank Thompson said he caps at 150, and you know what? That's awesome. And again, that's something he knows that if he's got a thermometer,
A lot of guys do it that way, and to be honest, that's a great way because all those volatile shit that are in your heads, guess what? You're letting that go out. It's out. It's gone. Those big time volatiles that are really bad in your heads, they're already gone. So hell yeah.
That's what's cool though, man. I keep going back to how everything can be done different ways, and people have their different ways, but like I said, all goes back to you can ask 15, 20 people that know what they're doing the same question, and there's a very good, I'd say there's an 80 to 90% chance they're all going to have around about the same answer.
Yep.
Because they put the work in, they know what works, they know what don't.
Clint, I wanted to answer Clint's question real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
You're right, Clint. Absolutely right. The bigger the pot, the bigger the mash, the higher the heat's got to go, and yeah, you're going to get a bigger drip. It's going to be a stream, not a drip. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can run, if you run a 300 gallon still, it's going to run like that.
Yeah.
I mean, within reason.
I mean,
But again,
we've watched a lot of videos with Tracy Bumgarner. He's got that 300 gallon he runs. So yeah, it's more of a heavy stream than it is a drip. So
yeah.
I mean, we see it on the Moonshine show. I make fun about that, but anyway, I won't go into that.
But and again, that's one of them things that got a lot of people interested in it. Was the fact that they showed some stuff, but they wouldn't show everything, and some things they would show kind of would get people confused, and all of a sudden they're like, well, this don't make no sense. Well, of course it don't make sense because they left this part out.
Right.
It's
all edited in.
Or how did they heat up this fucking 400 gallon still in an hour and a half on gas?
How'd they do that 500 gallon pot in one day?
Right.
Yeah.
Clint, things take a while,
Clint, you've been doing this for 40 years, Clint? God damn, dude.
Damn.
Hell, you're older than me, Clint. Unless you started when you were 7.
Right. Well, shit, boys.
All right.
Now, this short podcast has went 2 hours.
So yes, absolutely. Before we end it, I got a few more questions, Sean. What's something you enjoy outside of distilling that people wouldn't expect?
Now, I distill like outside of distilling?
No. What is something you enjoy outside of distilling that people would not expect? Like, do you play soccer? Or, are you a boxer? Or?
I like to do Muay Thai.
Okay.
Yeah. Something I used to compete in years ago.
What'd you say, Joey?
Nothing.
Yeah, you did. Go on, man.
No, I used to compete about 15, 20 years ago, and some people can probably tell I'm not as fat as I used to be. I've lost about 55 pounds, so.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
He is still a giant sack of shit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. But I mean, I'm trying to be a little more healthy. I like to see the kids grow up. Um, but that's something I like to do, and you know, and I like to be the old guy in the gym, still giving the young guys some shit. That's
No, that's something I'll different category, if you will. I went to college in old age, and all those guys were looking at me, asking me for all the answers. I didn't like that shit. I was like, dude, put in the work, motherfucker.
well, man. It was funny because it was probably a month or so ago. On a Friday night, we were sparring, and man, we got done with the round, and this kid's fucking humped over and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And he's like, God damn, man. I said, I'm fucking twice your age, dude.
Yeah,
Twice your fucking age. But I mean, um, it's just like anything else. Sometimes experience does help you in some things, and just like distilling. You could quit distilling for 10, 15 years, and you could pick it up like a bicycle.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
I'll agree
Um,
with that.
not saying that is the same thing, but once you're in shape, it's kind of your mind knows what your body needs to do. Sometimes your body don't want to keep up with the mind.
Especially the older you get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes you have to start thinking.
Yeah. All right. What's a moment in your life that shaped who you are today?
Oh damn,
Yeah,
kids,
absolutely.
kids, man.
100% agree.
I feel like kids will make a person and break a person, and fortunately for me, they made me a better person than I was.
That's a good thing.
And if it wasn't for my kids, I can honestly tell you I probably wouldn't be sitting here in this chair right now, because I would have never went down the road of distilling because I never would have needed to.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. I
Nah,
love that.
Sean's a hell of a family man, man. He's a great dad. He really is.
You know what? I'm so glad to hear that because, especially nowadays, there's so many. I mean, we all heard it through all the years. Man, I heard it through when I was a child where dads just up and leave and shit. So, thank you, Sean, for stepping up and being a dad. It makes a big difference in those kids' lives.
Man, that's I laid down and I made the bed. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
you gotta make the bed or lay in the bed you make, and it's not their fault. They weren't asked to be born. They weren't asked to be brought into this world. And
Sean, I say that every day, and it saddens me. I see all these things, and we love Elizabeth Stevens when she does her stuff. I love watching her stuff. But you know what? At the end of the day, the kids don't have a choice. They just
Right.
follow what they're taught. They're learning,
yeah,
And if they're learning from pieces of shit, guess what? They're going to be pieces of shit.
yeah,
So, I feel for the kids. I really do. I have a big heart
Yep.
for kids out there that they don't have choices. So, thank
right.
you, sir.
Well, and a lot of people give me shit because I choose not to come to certain events and things, and it's not their fault. I'm not going to blame it on the kids. It's because I made, in my opinion, the best decision for the kids for me not to go.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
here's the thing, man. Sean's still a young man. Those kids will be grown and gone, and these events will probably still be there.
And I
Yeah,
probably still won't go.
because
And
they're
if he
the
goes, he will
grandkids.
definitely be late.
Sean, I'll tell you this, buddy. I got 4 kids, 4 girls, and
I feel for you. 4 girls. I got 1 girl, and man, she's a
Yeah.
pistol.
and that being said, now I've got 9 grandkids. So, yeah, but you know what? I love it. I love each and every one of them. They're fun. They're a handful.
Yep.
But now they're all gone and moved out and doing their own thing, and it's just me and the wife now. So I miss them, man. I miss them a
Yeah.
lot.
It's weird when they're not here because you can ask Uncle Joey. Generally, I got one of the two.
Yeah,
You know,
it is
I
weird.
mean,
It's different, and you do. You're like, damn.
yep,
So you call them up. What are you doing? Yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
And
I just met Sean. Just was up in the little town we have up a little ways, and I met him and his oldest boy up there. So yeah, he
Cool.
generally's got one of his kids with him. I bust his balls a lot, but man, he's one of the best dads that I know. He really
That's
is.
awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Man, that makes my night. It really does.
But
well,
but listen, don't get it twisted. The
I'm
dude's
a piece
sack
of shit.
man. The dude is a sack of shit.
Oh, come
Don't
on,
get it
man.
twisted.
Come
I,
on.
I love to stir the pot when I can, where I can. But you know what? My kids are a lot like me in the sense of things. Um, but I wouldn't have it any other way, man.
Nope.
Because at the end of the day, what do we take with us?
Yeah.
Our fucking experiences and our memories. Money
Exactly.
can't go.
It's what you leave behind, brother. It's what you leave behind.
100%. So,
Yep.
Sean, couple more questions for you before we end this. Where do you want the craft and distilling world to go in the next few years?
Where do I want it to go in the next few years?
Yeah.
Where it's overdue. The shit needs to be legal.
Yeah.
It needs to be legal. If you can legalize marijuana, if you can legalize
Making wine.
making wine, making beer, why can't you do distilling? You know, it's
There's no difference.
yeah, you
There
know,
really isn't. There's no difference.
no. I mean, even if you've got to register a still, whatever. I'm not saying that's what I want to hear, but at the end of the day, there needs to be a way for anybody that wants to get in it to do it.
Yeah.
They may say, hey, you can't use fire, you need to use electric. Okay. Sure.
Well, and I think what's happening in some of these other states, it may be eventually possible.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know West Virginia, Missouri,
Texas.
Texas. You know, that some of these states have opened up some bills and things that have loosened up some laws. So
But it's
we may see it in our time.
state legal,
Right.
not federally.
Right.
But one thing with federal, if it's anything like marijuana, they will turn their heads. But the only way, well, I don't want to say they will, but because they're not making money. Like the state is still making tax money on
Yes.
on weed. That's probably why the feds are turning their heads on that.
Sure. Absolutely.
But if you want to make legal or illegal liquor, or well, liquor at home, you should be able to.
Yep.
If I want to be able to, as long as I'm not selling it, I want to make it and drink it and maybe share with my friends. Nothing wrong with it, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, there's a couple states out there. Missouri was one of the first ones, my home state, where they do that. And
Yep.
here's the killer of that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they allow 250 gallons. It's like, really, dude?
That's a lot. Now,
That's a lot.
there is a caveat to all that. You can, if you're in the state of Ohio, technically, and I say I this is not a loosely term, technically, you can file for a fuel ethanol manufacturing permit to have it at your home, but they keep a lot of tight leashes around that because you're supposed to denature the alcohol. They want to know the size of building your still's in. They want to know the size of your still. They want to know
Right.
how many windows, where the doors are at. They want a drawing of the roads, main roads around it, because they want to. When and if they show up, they're not going to knock on the door. They're going to go right to where the still's at.
They're just
Yep.
gonna show up.
Yep. So that's kind of one of them technicality things, but you better not get caught fucking around.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
I believe one of the guys in the Shiner community has that and got busted because he had a jar of liquor that somebody brought him in and gave him. And that he ended up getting busted for that. He's one of those guys that we will not mention his name.
Well, there's another guy in the community that filed for one of those and got one of those because he was going through a custody battle, and it was brought up in court, and the judge looked at it and said, "Oh, well, this is legal. Have you been charged or convicted?" No. Okay, well, this doesn't pertain to the issue. So I'm not going to say a name. Yeah, you do know that guy, but
I know, that's cool.
yeah, you do. He's on the podcast. But yeah. But yeah, you don't want to get caught with your pants down with that. So I wouldn't recommend that. But if that's your only way
Right.
of being legal without being legal, I mean, you take the lesser of the evils. But doing that, you tell them you're literally telling the TTB that you're making liquor. You're literally telling them.
You are actually, not only are you telling them you're making liquor, you're drawing a map to get
Yeah.
where to what they need.
where it's at, what
Yeah.
size still you're running. So you if you're going to do it, you need to be fucking smart and don't be making flavors. Don't be, because once you mix it like that, then they throw the fucking permit out the door and you get charged for the fucking with them with the permit. So it's a whole other deal that way.
Yes, Frank, I will be in Maggie Valley, Frank. I will be there. Me and Brian Key got a booth we're setting up with on the Militia Row, and I will be there selling merch and my barbecue sauce and my rub. So yeah, I'll be there.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to get through all these comments, and then I got one last question for you, Sean. But you have to have the cool and capacity. Yeah, you're right, Clint. Dude, obviously, we're going to have Clint on sometimes. Clint seems to be very knowledgeable about this.
Yeah.
All y'all are good people, especially Sean. Absolutely, I totally agree.
Thanks, Chris, man. You're a good dude too. Wish we were a little closer together. That way we could do some work.
Obviously, Joey thinks different, but hey.
Don't stroke that ego, Chris. Don't.
Uncle Joey, he was here long before you ever showed up.
Hey,
Long
he
before
seems like-
anybody in this fucking podcast showed up. So fuck
Hell yeah.
you.
That's awesome, brother.
So, Sean, I got one.
Listen, I'm glad he showed up tonight. Thank you for coming in, Chris.
Absolutely. Sean, I got one last question for you. If you could leave one message for new distillers out there, what would it be?
Oh.
I think we kind of covered this a little bit, but I kind of want to.
If you have any questions, call John Benz.
New. Yeah. If you want to make good brandy, I wouldn't advise that. But
Oh shit! Whoa! Whoa!
Second
That
place,
was a
Brandon.
stab.
second, no, he knows I'm fucking with him. But no, any distiller or beginner distillers?
Beginner.
Yeah, I would. Any advice for a beginner distiller? I would say find a good mentor, somebody that you can trust to give you good knowledge, or find a way to get the knowledge you need.
No, not me.
Um,
Sean knows more than I do, but
Like I said, I would. Well, that's the thing. You don't need to know everything.
No, you
Just
don't.
find somebody that can give you a good, solid baseline. And go from there, because that alone will keep you from trying to figure out what good information is, what bad information is.
hell yeah, Frank. Hell
And
yeah.
again, that's why I started the institute, was for people that wanted to just bypass all the bullshit.
Yeah, you said that, Sean. When I first started out, like I said, I was going to YouTube, this, that, and the other. I ended up finding Cyrus Mason.
Yes.
And he does a lot of informational stuff. Google it, guys. If you don't know Cyrus Mason, Google it. Check it out. If you're new, check him out. ABV Society. He's got a lot of stuff, especially for newbies. So be sure to check that out. Man, this guy is very knowledgeable. He taught me a lot, and I have to put this plug in there. I have to do this.
No, you're good. And I agree with you. I believe him, and I'm going to have to put, somebody that's been a big help to me, and I feel like he's been a big help to a lot of people. And I don't want to say he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but Phil Billy Moonshine,
Oh
man.
hell yeah! Oh yeah! By all means, hell yeah! Bill Billy, yeah, he's the shit. Absolutely, no question, hands down. Him and Prohibition.
Well, the funny thing is, I was watching Phil Billy before I met him. Somebody sent me a video, and I'm like, son of a bitch, that's kind of cool. Because what I thought was cool, how they would make all the wines and shit. And then one day, they got that Vever, and I'm like, son of a bitch, here we go, And then I got Big Easy into kegs, and then it went to hell from there.
Well, it was kind of cool when me and you made that trip to the Ohio Shine Co. We brought their names up, and he said, "Oh yeah, we watched their videos."
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. That's really cool to know that.
But even though Ian was too good to go with us, anyway, that's a whole nother.
I just watched recently this week a video that Cyrus put out, and everybody knows I make potato shine. and he was doing a video about vodka, and he had this pile of potatoes. Like, God damn it, Cyrus, you know you're not making fucking vodka. It's only vodka if you high proof it. I mean, he did. He reiterated later that, hey, you have to run this like 3 times to get it up to proof to make it vodka. I was like, okay, thank you. But when he first did that, I was like, dude, that's not vodka. But yeah, Cyrus Mason's very informative. Knows a lot. The man's been doing it for years. Backwoods guy. Him and his wife, phenomenal job. Yeah, she's got a lot of great recipes that she does as far as post flavoring and stuff. So be sure to check out Cyrus Mason. Google it, ABV Society. He's got a lot of stuff going on there. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I got a lot of my knowledge from him. Just saying. Clint, I'm trying to keep on the comments. I'm trying to end this, but at the same time, I don't want to leave anybody out.
We're good.
Having somebody that's knowledgeable in your corner will save you lots of. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you can call them on a regular basis. Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Love Cyrus Mason. Hell yeah, Frank. Absolutely. I'm gonna get a last few comments here, and I'm gonna end it. Phil's a true trailblazer. He won't lead you astray. No, he won't. But just don't try the pickle jar. No. The pickle jar is not bad, but
Yeah,
don't try the piss.
Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of people like dill pickle moonshine. Why, I don't know.
I make it.
Yeah, I always got the gallon pickle juice off of Amazon, and I would make it with that and some other stuff, but I haven't made that in years because I just don't. Like I said, I don't. That was a post flavored, but
Yeah.
if I'm making anything now, it's brandy or I'm not making anything.
You know, it's funny. Sean gave me some shine one time that was kind of funky, and that's the first thing I said. Man, I'm gonna run some pickle juice through the thumper. And dude, I got some spicy dill pickles, and it turned out, man. So,
Hey,
Yeah,
then again, somebody suggested, you tried it. Hey, it might not work out, but it might. So, hey,
yeah. What if it? People always says, "What if it don't?" Well, what if it does?
yeah, that's just another quick example. We can get off here. I had 2 different matches, and I said, "Hey, let's do 5 gallons of this and 5." And Sean's like, "Nope, nope, nope, nope." And son of a bitch, it actually turned out pretty damn decent, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So you got to try it. If you question it, try it, man. You
And then,
definitely
and
try
then
it.
if you're worried about the expense of the mash bill and all that stuff, try it in small batches.
Exactly. It's better to do a 5 gallon than a 50.
Hell yeah,
I
learned that
kind
the
of
hard
feel
way.
like everybody that runs should own a 5-gallon keg experimental still.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I got that Bill Billy apartment cake still for that very
Yep.
reason.
There you go. There it
You
is.
got-
BillyMoonshine.com.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Sean, brother, we appreciate you taking the time to sit with us tonight.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I'm happy to be on here tonight.
Your story, your knowledge, and your passion, it's been real deal. Not to be confused with, yeah, we know the real deal.
Whoa. Whoa.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Whoa. Don't
go there. Didn't mean to go there.
The real
never
deal.
say that name on this podcast.
Hey, I only said it once. I'm not going to say it 3 times.
But if you want to know what he's talking about, go to stilltalkinginstitute.com and you'll figure it out.
Absolutely. And
There you go.
hey, folks, you're going to walk away. I know I am walking away from this podcast. More knowledge. Sean, appreciate you, buddy. Anytime you want to come back and sit around the jar with us, the door's wide open, brother.
Dude, and that goes anytime. Why have you not been on our podcast yet?
No, bro, I have not.
Uncle Joey's a piece of shit. Why have you not asked him to be on our fucking podcast?
You tell me.
You're the
Here
scheduler,
we
not
go.
me.
This
You're the fucking
podcast has been
scheduler.
around long before me. Why haven't you guys had him on?
Oh,
Mark,
oh.
he's going to get you scheduled to be on Still
Okay.
Talking if you would like to come on.
Yeah, we'll get you on, Mark. Absolutely. We'll get you on.
We'll look into that, guys, and I appreciate the offer and the suggestion. I got so many things going on. I just started this new thing with the traveling moonshiner, which I didn't do an episode for this episode, but and By the way, we missed out on the Dumb Crook news, but we'll do that next week. By the way, not next week, but 2 weeks from now. By the way, we have Clara coming on. I'm anxious and excited about having her on down here.
I got like 6 bottles to drink when she comes on.
You beat both, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna come over to your house when she's on, Uncle Joey, so I can drink the bottle.
Hey, this
Dude,
stuff here.
oh my God. I
This
love
stuff here.
Clara. Clara's awesome. She's a
Yeah.
great woman. She's very full of energy. She's very talkative. And I'm very excited about having her on the next jar number 9. Yeah, it shows on here jar 7, but it's supposed to be jar 8. But I call the segments jars instead of segments. But now we're gonna have.
I
Clara
can't wait
on.
till she's on. I want to talk to her about this damn rum, man. This rum is amazing.
Dude. So she walked through me the process of their liqueur. Apparently, that's the new thing with these distilleries now is liqueur.
Yeah.
So I was there while she was doing the liqueur, and I got to experience it. She was in her hearts. She couldn't come out and visit with me or bring me in to do the private tour with her until she got into her hearts. The hearts were at 170. And I'll tell you what, I tasted the hearts. Dude, 170, that smooth? Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
Unbelievable. There's a lot of stuff I want to share with you guys, and we'll share that on the next episode in 2 weeks. Claire Robinson
Hell yeah.
Ward. Dude, you won't want to miss that one. You won't want to miss it. So, again, Sean, thanks for coming on, buddy, and sharing your knowledge and your experience. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've gone twice.
Thanks for the
over
opportunity,
work
man.
with you. And, dude, again, anytime you want to come on and be a part of this, please feel free, buddy.
If you ever need a fill-in guest, man, just give me a holler.
Oh, you know what?
Everybody, I
The
don't
way
care
you
how long
showed it-
you've been into distilling. I feel like everybody could gain a little knowledge from the Still Talking Institute.
Absolutely.
So please, I highly recommend you guys check it out.
Absolutely. And you know what, Sean, the way Joey showed up tonight, you showed up early. You know, all the shit they talk about you showing up and being on time and being late and yada yada about still talking.
Yep.
Hey, man, the way you showed up tonight, you can replace Joey anytime.
Mark, do not stroke his ego, Mark. Do not.
And if anybody's got
Hey,
any
I'm
questions
trying to
about
get you to come on time.
if anybody's got any questions about anything distilling related, just if you don't have anybody to ask or reach out to, just send me a message, man.
There's
You know?
your new mentor right over there.
I'll
There
do
you
what
go.
I can. If I don't know, I'll direct you to somebody that does know.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you I can find somebody that does know.
Fly. I gotta fly.
It just
buddy.
may not be me.
Right. And then everybody, please go to themoonshineco.com and buy one of these fancy ass T-shirts
And to soon come, 2 Uncles in a Jar. It's coming.
soon. I will work with Brandon.
All right, buddy.
2 sacks of shit and alcohol.
Hey. What the fuck?
But by the way, you're the uncle.
Oh, okay. Hey, I love
Thank you,
guys.
everybody. We appreciate it.
Gone on.
Thanks for coming on and
Shine on.
hanging out tonight. Good night, everybody.